Flush is now available without a prescription.
WENJ HD, Millville, Atlantic City.
Finally!
This is Hanging with Hennig.
I have friends everywhere.
On 97.3 ESPN Radio, South Jersey.
In New Jersey. Am I right? Yeah.
Live feed on the 97.3 ESPN mobile app, powered by First Bank of Sea Isle City.
It seems to run on some form of electricity.
Well, you're not wrong.
Streaming live on YouTube, Instagram, and the X platform.
The internet is a communications tool used the world over where people can come together.
Now, here's your host.
He's not gone. That's the whole point. He's never gone.
Josh Hennig.
97.3 ESPN, hanging with Hennig, hanging out with you. Can you believe it? We had all of the Philly teams win yesterday. How about them apples? I mean, I don't know about the rest of you, but Josh Hennig hanging out in the 97.3 ESPN studios. I'd rather not be in the studio. It's a beautiful day outside. But, you know, here I am. I'm with the rest of you. While you all get to drive around and enjoy this beautiful weather, I'm hanging out with you for the next 3 hours here on 97.3 ESPN FM, the 97.3 ESPN mobile app powered by First Bank of Sea Isle, streaming live on YouTube and X in the Dr. Squatch virtual studio. Let's get into it because yesterday, and we'll get to the Eagles stuff, okay? We will get to the Eagles stuff. I promise. Because I got a lot of thoughts about that. But if you didn't have trouble falling asleep last night, you might not be a Philly sports fan. Because my adrenaline was through the roof last night, flipping back and forth, trying to keep up with the Flyers and the Sixers, trying to squeeze in a gym workout, carrying my phone around while I got this screen at the gym with one game, another game on my phone. Like, I'm doing everything I can to keep track of these games. And they both won. I can't believe it. I don't know what's more surprising, because the Flyers are apparently a better team on the road than they are at home. The Sixers got Joel Embiid complaining about the team won't let him play after the game, even though they won. I mean, I feel like I'm CM Punk, where it's like, isn't it a great time to be alive? Now, of course, we'll play next week when everybody loses, right? That's the way Philly sports works. But we got to get a lot to get into here on Hanging with Hennig on 97.3 ESPN. Coming up at 1 o'clock, NBA insider Brandon Scoopy Robinson is kind enough to join us as he is on the road. He is en route to his next coverage destination. We'll get his perspective on the Eastern Conference as the Sixers are hanging on for dear life to that 6th seed. Also, we get the Ivy Rehab injury report, and part of our conversation with Dr. Ashley Tress from Ivy Rehab Rehabilitation Centers. Ivy Rehab with first-in-class physical therapy with over 80 locations in South Jersey. Dr. Ashley Tress is going to explain to us how on God's green earth did Tyson Forrester beat the timeline. Remember, he was supposed to miss 5 months. He came back in 4. How on earth does somebody return after missing 4 months that quickly I got a little nervous last night. I don't know about everybody else, but I got a little nervous last night when he slipped and tripped and flew into the board. I was wondering, did he just re-injure himself? He didn't. Thank God he didn't. But still, that thought went through my mind. So we'll have Dr. Ashley Tress for the Ivy Rehab injury report. And the number of people I have had come up to me in the last 2 weeks asking me, not about March Madness, not about the Sixers, not about the Flyers. Here is the list of things that people come up to Josh when they see me out the local watering hole. Eagles, Phillies, the Masters. We're going to have ESPN betting analyst Pam Maldonado. She's going to give us a deep dive because a lot of you have been asking, Josh, you used to do that segment during the week. On game night, you used to do that show after Mike Gill, 6 to 7. You used to give us Masters picks. Well, we're going to try to make up for there not being a daily show anymore. Pam's kind enough to join us on a Saturday afternoon. And as always, you guys join the conversation at 609-403-0970. We'll put a poll question out at 973 ESPN as well. What are you most amped up for right now? Is it the Flyers being this close, so close to making the postseason? Is it the 76ers finding ways to win? They should have lost that game last night, but they found a way to win the game. The Phillies offense exploded yesterday. That got you pumped up. Let me know what's got you amped. As I mentioned, in about 20 minutes, we'll dig deeper into the Eagles because this whole Jalen Hurts thing, this is a conversation that has the dirty word that many people don't like to bring up. It's got a lot of nuance. All right, let's get back to the Flyers and the Sixers because last night, let's break each down. The Sixers first. Then we'll get to the Flyers. The fact that was two different games between the first half and the second half. In the first half of that game last night, neither team could really score. The Sixers looked like their offense could do absolutely nothing. I mean, there was a point where Tyrese Maxey scored 2 points in the first 20 minutes of the game. And if you're a Sixer fan, you're thinking, what on earth is going on here? How do we go from a team that everyone was finding a way to score against the Wizards and nobody can hit a shot against the T-Wolves? Now, I get it. Timberwolves are a much better team than the Wizards. But some of those shots that Paul George was making against the Wizards, they were very contested shots. Well, I don't know what Nick Nurse said at halftime or if he said anything at halftime, to be frank. But whatever happened to get this team back in mode, they came out of that halftime armed and ready to go. And it was absolutely wild to see them not just get the scoring back up. Can we talk about the turnovers? Can we talk about them forcing all of these turnovers? Paul George, I mean, you could have credited him with 8-10 steals by the end of the night. He was getting deflections left and right. You had the guys like Edgecombe and Oubre and Maxey and everybody just full sprint down the court. Joel Embiid tried running down the court one time to try maybe get an outlet pass, and he realized, never mind, I'm good. It's absolutely amazing watching a team be Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde last night. Absolutely incredible for them to come out of halftime, take control of the game, and absolutely explode. Then you got the Flyers. And I got to give Kevin Durso, our 97.3 ESPN.com Flyers insider, credit. Because he was on the Sports Bash with Mike Gill yesterday. And he talked about how last night's game was more important than Thursday night's game. And I disagreed. Well, apparently, it wasn't that just Kevin Durso was right that was more important, but apparently the Flyers agreed with him. Because the Flyers put out arguably their best effort of the week yesterday. I don't know what they were trying to do in the Caps or Red Wings games, but whatever they were trying to do wasn't working. So, for me, I'm looking at the game last night, and I'll admit it, I was fatalistic. I thought they were going to lose the game. The Islanders are a really good team. You just lost to a really good team in the Red Wings. Sorokin's having a good year. I should know he's on my fantasy hockey team. But we'll get into that a little bit later as well because, apparently, I got to wait for Nuggets to come back in the studio for this. I'll wait for him to come back to get into this. By the way, I'm not going to have Vince over my shoulder here. Vince is, for those who don't know, Vince, he was helping me out during the fall season at different events. So now he's learning the inner workings of the board systems. So for those of you who asked me last week, who on earth is sitting behind you, it's Vince wearing a Flyer shirt. But we'll wait for Nuggets to come back in the studio to bring him in on this. But here's the deal. Last night, the way the Flyers responded from the loss to the Red Wings was absolutely, I didn't see it coming. I'm just being honest. I did not see it coming because the Islanders are a very good team with a very good goaltender with high-powered offense, and Vladar went out there and said, I don't care. You could argue this Vladar might be one of the biggest additions by a Flyers GM in the last, 15 years? Nobody saw this guy turning into the goaltender he is. And then the offense. Matvei Mishkov looks like a man who realized that he is no longer the shiniest car on the parking lot anymore. If you've ever watched the movie Cars, right, the Pixar movie, and in Cars, you notice some of the cars get jealous of each other because it's like, oh, well, he's so much better than me. He looks so much cleaner. He's a sports car. I think that's what was happening this week to an extent. Tyson Forrester comes back early. Porter Martone joins the team. Porter Martone is about leading a team in shots the first two games in an NHL uniform. The Michigan State product, the first-round draft pick. It was like Mishkov last night said, okay, no one wants to talk about me anymore? I'm going to make you talk about me. Because it was more than just the goal and the assist. By the way, that assist to Sanheim, that might be one of the plays. Like when we make the top 10 plays of the Flyers season, that assist to Sanheim's got to be in the top 5, the top 10. That was absolutely nuts. But for me, watching Mishkov just work the ice all night long was a great sign that this young man is finally embracing the reality that in order for this team to win long term, they need Mishkov to be part of that winning formula. Earlier in the year, he looked deflated. He looked a little lost. He looked like he was still trying to find himself. Well, last night you saw what might have been one of the best games of the season from him. And it was more, like I said, than the goals and the assists. It was the fact that he was getting back on defense. It was the fact that he was skating with the team in the offensive zone, in a fluid manner. And I think the team fed off of him and Forrester and Tippett and all the guys kind of all picked up their intensity. They knew this was a must-win game. They knew that if they didn't win this game, you might as well close the door on the season. Because now, as I pull up the NHL standings, we'll do this for the Sixers in just a minute. You pull up the NHL standings, you realize this game changes pretty much the entire outlook of the Eastern Conference standings. You are 1 point behind the Islanders in the Metropolitan. You have the same number of points as the Ottawa Senators. You are literally right there in the mix, jousting for position, despite the losses to the Caps, despite the loss to the Red Wings, which I still contend you should have tried a little harder to win the Red Wings game because they're ahead of you in the standings. But right now, the Islanders, after that loss last night, have 89 points. The Flyers have 88. The Blue Jackets, the Red Wings, and the Senators all have 88. So you got all these teams bunched together, right? They're all lined up together in the standings. Flyers got a big game coming up on Sunday against Boston. And they've beaten Boston already this year. So that's not an issue. We know they can do it. Got the Devils 2 days after that. We know they can beat the Devils. They've done it this year. The Flyers are in prime position to find a way into the postseason. And with them and the 76ers, kind of just getting all of our juices up, right? Guys, do you realize we have not seen both the Flyers and the Sixers in the postseason at the same time in a long time? Think about how crazy that is. Because before the Flyers went through this postseason drought, they were kind of like a every other year team. They miss the playoffs, they make the playoffs. They miss the playoffs, they make the playoffs. And then, of course, at the 76ers, they didn't make the postseason for about a 5-year period, or 6-year period, whatever it was. So, for both teams to make the postseason, it's been a decade. And the Flyers are right there. They are within inches, okay? They are within striking distance of making a postseason. And I got to admit it. I went into the game last night. I was fatalistic. I thought the Detroit loss and the Capitals loss were too deflating, but they said no. And you got to give credit to the young players. I think that's the theme of the week. The Phillies have been winning recently because of their young players. The Flyers have won last night because of their young players. You look at the 76ers. Where would they be without VJ Edgecombe? They wouldn't be here. Without Edgecombe and Maxey, they'd be nada. They'd be nothing. Because you know what? Joel Embiid hasn't been healthy. We all know that. And Andre Drummond. Can Andre Drummond learn how to shuffle his feet? For the sake of anything holy and sacred, can I have a moment with that? Can Andre Drummond learn how to, when I played defense in high school basketball, what was one of the biggest drills you learned? You had to lateral shuffle your feet from sideline to sideline and up and down the court. They'd have that drill where you would start on the baseline, you shuffle your feet to the foul line, and then you flip your hips and shuffle then to midcourt. Flip your hips again, shuffle to the other foul line. Flip your hips again, shuffle to the end line, and then you sprint back the other way, full speed. And if you were the person that came in last, you had to do 20 push-ups. I think Andre Drummond has never done that drill in his entire life. Can I see more of Dembona? Please? Please, Nick Nurse? Because I know one thing. You can't tell me the Sixers are winning more games or because of Nick Nurse. They're winning games because these guys are making shots. That's why they're winning games for the Philadelphia 76ers. Text board is open. The question is, what's got your juices running more? The Flyers, the Sixers, or the Phillies right now? 609-403-0973 is the text board. We'll have the poll question up on X a little bit later in the hour. But for me, I don't know how to choose. I don't know how to choose between these teams. To me, it's such a close conversation between the 76ers and the Flyers and the Phillies, because you can make an argument for all three, right? You know, watching Justin Crawford get that walk-off hit this week, Andrew Painter's debut, the return of Tyson Forrester, the debut of Porter Martone, the return of Embiid and Paul George, the return of Maxey, like all these things are just converging. It's like a big sports convergence going on right now. And like I said, I don't know about the rest of you, but I'm excited. I'm pumped about what's going on. Text board is open, 609-403-0970. Don't worry, we'll all get miserable about the Eagles coming up in about 10 minutes from now. Before we get into anything else, I'm trying to look. Hey, Nick, you got a minute to jump on the mic there for a sec? And Vince, I want you to jump on that mic as well. We're going to do a little quick little round table. I don't have cameras for you guys. I'm sorry. This is kind of impromptu. So I got a bit of a Peter Griffin moment.
All right.
You know, grinding my gears, okay? So you may remember that, you know, or you may not remember. I don't blame you if you don't. I'm in a fantasy hockey league.
Yes, you sent me this the other day.
Okay. Now, I was suckered into this league by Nate, who used to work here.
Yes.
He's going to bigger and broader pastures
Big
now.
Nate.
And Alex.
Licks.
Big hockey guy, Alex, right?
Yep.
Well, I was getting a lot of grief back in when this draft first of all, they made me do the draft. I think it was the night of like an NFL game or something. It was like some really bad timing of the draft.
Way back.
Okay? And everyone's trash talking me the entire draft, right? They're all basically acting like I'm an idiot. Who is this guy? Oh, you're the radio guy. What do you know about hockey? Well, I'm in the championship game.
Wow. Yes.
I am in the championship game against a guy that I don't know. Apparently, it's one of Nate's friends.
Okay.
So I decided to have, everyone's trash talking me for the first 2 months of this league. But as I started rising, everyone got quiet.
A little quiet. Yeah. Not as much chirping, huh?
Right. Now, this week, I sent individual messages to Alex and to Nate. No response, no reply, no acknowledgement, nothing. Like, I didn't even get a bleep you in return. I sent a text to Durso. Now, Durso at least got back to me, because Durso always gets back to me. He's a beautiful human being.
He is.
Okay? Because Durso said to me, honestly, I stopped paying attention once the playoffs got around because I was out of the playoffs. I was like, all right, well, at least
you were honest.
At least you gave me something, What is the delineation? Like, what is the protocol when everyone has been trash talking you in fantasy sports, but then now you're in the championship game and everyone is quiet? Nick, go first.
All right, here's what you should do. Is there a group chat to this entire?
There used to be a group chat, but I can't find it now.
All right. Well, here's what you do. The ones who were trash talking early on in the season, if you do win the championship, I would screenshot the final score, put everyone in a group chat, and just send the final score and just write boom. That's it. That's all you got to do. Keep it simple. You don't have to say anything. Let the winning do the talking for you. That's my proposition for you, Josh Hennig.
Vince, what's your reaction to all this?
I mean, I think that your performance pretty much just said all it needs to say. I mean, all I would really do, I'm a simple guy, and I would probably say period. That's it. Just I wouldn't even spell out the word. I would just put period. Like Nick said, a group chat, I would just put 1 dot. That's it. And let your performance describe the rest.
See, I'm sorry. I'm petty. It's the Italian in me.
That's why you just send
For me,
the win.
I want acknowledgement. I'm Roman Reigns, okay? I want you to acknowledge me, okay? I want you to acknowledge the fact that I came in to what's supposed to be your world, and I did something, okay? Now, from what I understand, just making the championship game should win you some money as well.
Right.
Okay.
So, because, everyone had to pay, whatever, I forget the exact number. I think it was $25, right?
Right.
So, the way it works is, if you're even in the championship game, you're in the running for the money. But now everyone's quiet, which now makes me wonder, and this is why I'll swing it back to you guys. Are they being quiet because they realize that nobody paid up?
That's an angle I didn't think of. Yeah. I thought everyone had everything in already.
Well, I don't know.
Well, this is a new loop. Possibly. Could be part of it. Did everyone pay their 25 and their fair share?
Right.
Because if you win,
yeah,
I want it. I want it. It's time.
Well, listen.
Where's the Venmo notification?
Well, listen, and I'm not going to go that crazy because I am talking to somebody who's been very gracious himself in collecting his fantasy winnings in Nick Earnshaw. So I'm not going to be a jerk about it. Just because I have a good role model in Nick Earnshaw, who's very patient and very gracious with his understanding of people. But for me, I look at this as I just want someone to just say, you know what, Josh,
you caught a dub.
You got a dub.
You want to prove this all wrong.
Yeah,
exactly.
You proved this all wrong.
So I said, I'm Roman Reigns. I want to be acknowledged.
Right.
That's it.
Is that too much to
when
ask?
you win, just send the final score.
Yeah.
And boom.
And
That's
then
all
see if you
do.
get replies. If you send the final score and you get replies, and then you'll be like, okay, now they're starting to come in. And I mean, just that simple post, that simple message may stir some things up. You may start getting it.
Because really quick, before I go to break, it's my show, so I do whatever I want.
Yeah.
Okay? Hanging with Hennig, 97.3 ESPN. I don't know why this random person is calling right now, but they're going to be put on hold. So
it might not be so random on the other side.
I don't know either. But, so here's the deal. Part of the reason I got ripped is because I desperately wanted Owen Tippett at the beginning of the year.
Okay.
So there was a guy that, came to me and proposed a trade.
Wow.
Right? And initially, everyone was like, why do you want Owen Tippett? Why are you trying to do this? Da, 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 da. And so I was like, look, I really want at least one flyer. I like to have one guy from my team
right. Sure.
on my fantasy team.
And a rising player at that.
And I'm a Tippett guy. Mike Gill has made fun of me about this. Billy Schwein makes fun of me that I'm a Konechny guy. Mike Gill makes fun of me that I'm an Owen Tippett guy. I don't know why everyone wants to make fun of me for liking two good players, but whatever. It's like when Billy used to make fun of Nick because he's a Maxey guy.
Yeah.
Really?
Yes.
Got some
This
stuff
is
now
happening.
under my belt to go after him with. All right. Here we go.
Listen, I'm doing the same thing with the Sixers. I'm biting my tongue there, Josh. Till things happen.
Are you telling me you know who's on the phone right now?
I do know who's on the phone.
All right, someone hand me a headset. I need a not the one you're wearing, Vince, the one that's sitting in front of you.
Hey, I was being
Come
generous.
on,
I was being
intern.
generous.
Yes, you may know this individual. I may have just gotten a text on what the number could be. And he could be in your fantasy hockey league.
Oh, jeez.
All right. Identify yourself, unknown caller.
Mr. Josh Hennig. This is Alex Baradas.
Wow, look who it is. I thought you were doing something with lacrosse today or something.
I'm coming out of my game. We just battled hard, had a real good game against St. Joe's Metuchen, Mainland Lacrosse. They worked real good today. But I'm curious where this chirping is from you, because I'm looking at my text messages. I'm looking at our league chat. I don't see anything.
Wow.
I'm going to pull up so I have witnesses in
You
the
know,
studio.
you know what, Licks? It's because he's got the green message. It's the green message. Android probably didn't go through.
That would be something. But also, Josh, how bad, was I talking that crazy?
Well, you weren't talking crazy, but you weren't exactly defending me either.
What, for the Owen Tippett thing?
Yeah. So I'm showing the guys. I sent the text at Monday at 10:45. Vince, you
I
can
see it.
You can take it. You can show it to Nick.
On what platform are we looking here?
My text messages.
It was sent, Licks. It was sent.
Confirmation.
Wow. We have discrepancies here in the group chat.
It's a picture of him and Kirill the Thrills?
Yeah, well, I did. I took a screenshot of me in the championship game, and then I followed up with a Roman Reigns acknowledge me.
I'll acknowledge you. Josh, Good on you. I'll acknowledge you. And this whole not paying thing.
Oh, it's changed.
And this whole not paying thing, I don't know where that came from.
Wow.
Just send me.
I don't know. That wasn't about you. That was about, I don't know what's going on with that because no one's ever followed up with me about paying. That's what I was
Now,
bringing up.
as a league commissioner in another league myself, I've faced this problem where do you get it at the beginning or do you get it at the end of the year?
That's a good question. Let's go whip around. Alex, are you a beginning, middle, or end of the year collector?
I wish to be a beginning, but that never pans out. When it's not my league, I like to just Venmo straight who won instead of sending it to the commish.
Okay.
And then the commish disputing it or just
Distributing
it out.
Yeah.
Yeah, distributing. Thank you. I like to just say, whoever won, give me your Venmo. I'm sending it straight to you, so you know I'm checked off.
All right, Nick, what's your position?
Oh, yeah. Beginning of the season. Beginning, before everything starts, you got to get your Venmo in or you're out of the league.
Oh, so you're saying you're out of the league?
Yeah, you're out of the league. I don't play that.
So you're saying before they draft?
Yeah, before the draft happens,
Interesting.
Everybody's got to get their cash in. Like my fantasy football draft, I have been with for years and years, my buddies from high school, you bring it on draft day in cash. That is your payment.
Which is just as good as money.
Yep. Listen, I have a beef with cash and the whole toll thing.
Use your easy pass.
For you young guys, that was one of Yogi Berra's isms.
Yes.
He used to say cash, which is just as good as money.
Yeah.
Vince, what is your position on the collecting of fantasy dues?
Hey, at the beginning, run it like a professional league, like how things would be ran. I guess if you did it like in the NHL or whatever, you collect the money at the beginning, you pay a guy on a contract, whatever it may be. That money goes at the very beginning of time. Yeah, no little messing around. No messing around.
Now, because the reason I'm asking this is because we do have 3 members of the 97.3 Fantasy Football League.
Yes.
And I bring it up because the 2 people who just said you should collect the money early are usually 2 of the only people who pay me at the beginning of the year. So I think it's very interesting that Alex and Nick are basically saying we pay because we think people should pay, and Josh shouldn't have to be chasing people down for money later in the year.
Correct.
That's kind of what I'm catching on here, Alex, that you and Nick, because you guys always pay early, are the ones who are saying no, everybody else should pay early, too. That's kind of what I'm picking up here.
Well, I'm fine as long as the money gets in. And now, as a former league champion in a 97.3 realm world myself, I like seeing it at the end of the year. It's a great thing to see. I got to be honest.
That Venmo notification hits different, Licks, as I was the champ right before you.
It's a great thing to see pop up. And Josh is always on top of that. Josh, I'm rooting for you here. I really am.
Wow.
I don't know who this other guy is. I got to be honest here.
You got a fan.
I don't know if it's a fan, but I got a cohort.
There you go.
I got a
Next
colleague.
time I'm in studio with you, Josh, if you come out victorious on air, I'll put my fingers to the sky. On air, on camera.
Catch a dub there.
All right, so really quick, so what was the final score for Mainland and St. Joe's Metuchen?
It was a 12-5 St. Joe's Metuchen win.
So basically, it was just one of those tough, hard-fought games, but St. Joe pulled away.
Yes.
And what is Mainland's record on the year now?
We are currently 2-2. We have a game on Tuesday against Wall Township.
So now, if I were to ask you who is more likely to make the playoffs, is it the Mainland Regional Lacrosse team or is it the Flyers?
Mainland Regional Lacrosse is winning the Cal this year.
Wow. You heard it here first.
Wow. Mark it. Save the audio. Whatever you have to do.
Well, it's on YouTube. You know, I can find it if I need to.
Clip it.
Although knowing me, I might forget about it, and then Alex might need to remind me, and then I'll go grab it. If you're okay with that.
I gotta run, boys. I just had to call in and say my piece on the matter.
Alex, I appreciate you.
I always appreciate you, Josh.
Talk to you later.
What a character.
This show's gotten off to a good start.
We're hanging out.
We're hanging with Hennig. On 97.3 ESPN. Nick, Vince, appreciate you jumping on the mics. We'll check back on the text board on the other side. 609-403-0973 is the text board. I see text coming in from Shaner and EHC, Jeff in Port Norris. with the Your Guys text and more. Don't forget, still to come, NBA Insider Brandon Scoopy Robinson will join the show coming up at 1 p.m. The Ivy Rehab injury report coming up at 1:25 p.m. And then we'll hear from Pam Maldonado, ESPN betting analyst, coming up at 2:25 p.m. And, of course, your text throughout the show, 609-403-0973. Hanging with Hennig, of course, as always, being brought to my friends over at Hang Time Bar and Grill. Just because it's April doesn't mean it isn't the place to be still to watch all the games. With over 30 TVs in the building, you can watch all the games. You got the NCAA tournament starts at 6. The Sixers start at 7. The Phillies start at 8. And you heard earlier in the locker room with Billy Schweim here on 97.3 ESPN. There's a plethora of other NHL games going on today. So what better way to keep up with all the action than to go check out Hang Time Bar and Grill on the Whitehorse Pike in Galloway. Spring into fun with friends and family and enjoy your next night out at Hang Time Bar and Grill, located on the Whitehorse Pike in Galloway. With live music every Tuesday night, DJ bingo every Wednesday night, and 30 TVs to watch your favorite teams play, good times and great food is waiting for you at Hang Time Bar and Grill. Check out Facebook and Instagram to learn more about Hang Time Bar and Grill's weekly specials and one of the best happy hours in South Jersey. On the Whitehorse Pike in Galloway at Hang Time Bar and Grill.
For 23 years, we've helped athletes at all levels at Clemic Performance Method, from youth to pros, increase maximum velocity, acceleration, vertical leaps, and general physical preparedness. We offer youth, high school, and pro college classes. Our proven results have earned national recognition from NFL coaches, sponsors, and a feature on ESPN Radio's Sports Science segment. You can contact me directly at 609-742-6190, or as always, visit us on our website, clemicperformancemethod.com.
Oh, could this vintage store be any cuter?
Right? And the best part? They accept Discover.
Accept Discover? In a little place like this? I don't think so, Jennifer.
Oh, yeah, huh? Discover's accepted where I like to shop. Come on, baby, get with the times.
Right, so we shouldn't get the parachute pants?
These are making a comeback. I think.
Discover is accepted at 99% of places that take credit cards nationwide. Based on the February 2025 Nielsen report.
Is your trade-in stopping you from shopping? It's time to drop in some Maflag Nissan.
We need your trade-in today, and we're willing to overpay. At Maflag Nissan and at Maflag Affinity.
AJ the trade-in man will pay you up to $4,000 over a Kelley Blue Book fair trade value for any trade-in in any condition, even if it's not paid off.
New 26 Maflag Nissan Rogue, just $269 per month.
New 26 Maflag Nissan Kicks, just $289 a month.
Or finance select new Nissan or Infiniti at 0% APR for 60 months.
Worried about your credit? Don't sweat it. Our lenders can get almost anyone approved.
Come see us today at Maflag Nissan and at Maflag Infinity.
And the Buckhorse Pike in Egg Harbor Township. It's time to drop in some Maflag Nissan.
With approved credit, go to MatFlatNissan.com for details or 877-289-6670. Price includes all costs to be paid by consumer, except for licensing, registration, and taxes. $1,667 per thousand finance for 60 months at 0 APR through NMAC. Negative trade equity refinanced. Subject to lender approval. Offers don't combine. Expires month end.
Indeed presents hires you can't afford to get wrong, like a cybersecurity engineer at a publicly traded company.
We've been hacked! They're through our firewall!
How is that even possible?
They got my password.
Please don't tell me your password was password.
It's actually password 1.
This is a job for sponsored jobs. This is what happens when you don't sponsor your job on Indeed. Next time, get matched with quality candidates with Indeed sponsored jobs. Visit Indeed.com/hire now and sponsor your job today.
Hi, Flo here to say that Progressive knows that life can change quickly, so it's good to have flexible coverage.
Oh, like when I have to take my ex off my policy.
Oh, sorry. But yes, we can do that.
And can you send them a message and tell them that they have trust issues that they need to work on?
We don't really get in the middle of these conflicts.
Also, can you let them know that I was faking interest in his band and it's probably time to grow up?
I'm not going to do it. Just know that with Progressive, you can easily make changes to your auto insurance because we know life changes.
Also, I'm staying in touch with his mom because she's absolutely lovely.
Bad idea.
Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates.
Something good to know from First Bank of Sea Isle City. We have all of today's innovative banking products just like the big banks, but we offer something they can't. A personal community focus. Let's get you started with Bill Pay. You save time when you pay your bills online. It's fast, easy, and convenient. First Bank of Sea Isle City. A community bank that delivers more for you every day. Personal service, today's technology, from the people who truly care. Learn more at firstbankseaisle.com.
Member FDIC, equal housing lender.
Now back to Hanging with Hennig on 97.3 ESPN FM.
I don't want them to gain another yard.
And on the 97.3 ESPN mobile app, powered by First Bank of Sea Isle City.
You blitz all night.
Streaming live on YouTube, Instagram, and the X platform.
Hanging with Hennig back here on 97.3 ESPN, being brought to you by Caesars Sportsbook, the only sportsbook app with Caesars Rewards. That means every bet you place on every sport does more for you. More perks, more ways to play, more ways to level up your experience like only Caesars can offer. Because when you bet with Caesars Sportsbook, you don't just follow the action, you become a part of it. Baseball, basketball, hockey, all the games you love all season long, one app, endless rewards, offering you opportunities to earn perks from hotel stays, the bonus bets, the game tickets, and more. It's the kind of treatment that every fan deserves, and only Caesars delivers. Getting started is simple. Download the app and use my promo code RADIO, DYW, and then place your first bet of $1 or more for a chance to double your winnings on your next 10 bets. 10 chances to boost your play just for stepping onto the field with Caesars. Open to new users in New Jersey are 21 or older. Max bet of $25 for boosted winnings. Max additional winnings, $2,500 per bet. Profit boost tokens expire 14 days after receipt. See Caesars.com/promos for full terms. If you or somebody you know has a gambling problem, well, I would ask you to please call 1-800-GAMBLER. Josh Hennig back here in the 97.3 ESPN Studios. I still have to get the poll question up. I haven't gotten that up yet. But we'll get to that. That's just, we got a little sidetracked there with that random conversation. We'll get to the text, though, right now. 609-403-0973. Shout out to Jeff at Port Norris. Happy Easter to you. Yes, it's Easter weekend. You know how I know it's Easter weekend? Because the number of people who were unavailable to come on the show today. That's how I know it's Easter weekend, Jeff in Port Norris. But I appreciate you reaching out. You're a good man. The number of people who are just unavailable because I got a family thing. I got a this. I got a that. It's amazing. It's also amazing, and I'm not trying to throw anybody to the bus. It's amazing the number of people who think a holiday weekend is an opportunity to not be responsible. Like, the number of people who use a holiday weekend, like look at Alex Berardis, okay? Alex Berardis is out there. He could have been like, oh, I got a family thing. I can't coach Mainland Regional today. He's a volunteer. He's not making like big money or anything. So it's like, all right, well, he's showed up and did his responsibility. I'm just saying that there's a lot of people out there. They have treated the holiday weekend as an opportunity to vacate their responsibilities. And I'll leave it at that. We got some also text coming in from Shaner DHC's got a ton to say at 609-403-0973. I wish I would have read this when Nick Earnshaw was here. Maybe he's listening in the car right now. I hope he is. Because Shaner says, I'm heading to the Flyers game tomorrow with my lady, and I'm so excited. Will my hopes be dashed? This win could be the one that demoralizes others and propels the Flyers to the playoffs. I have not watched playoff hockey in years because the Flyers are not in it. And that's interesting. He's a guy who won't watch the playoffs unless the Flyers are in it. Now, I watch it no matter what. I'm a big playoff hockey guy. I think playoff hockey, you could make an argument that playoff hockey is, in some cases, better than NBA playoff basketball. Because the problem with the NBA playoffs is if you get a bad matchup, it just becomes an ugly game. And it's not fun. And then you're waiting for the next round of a matchup. And whereas hockey, it feels like every round there's something crazy going on. It's a very interesting take there by Shader and EHT. He goes on to say, even a first-round exit would be a reason to hope and to get some, I don't know what that is. Apparently some wings. But he says, I love the rookie, by the way, but why is he skating faster and harder than all the others? So that was a comment that was made the other day by somebody that Porter Martone looks like he's trying harder than everybody else. Shaner, you know why he's skating faster? Because he probably is like the third fastest guy on the team, honestly. Why is he skating harder? Because I think Porter Martone realizes he has to earn his keep. He can't be one of these guys who just, one of the problems, and I'm not trying to cast aspersions on him because he's a much better player now than when he first came into the league. But two guys I think of when they first came into the league who were high draft picks, who didn't come in with the right mentality, Connor Bedard of the Blackhawks, and if you go years before that, I go back to, I just drew a blank on his name. The guy who plays for the Sharks, Celebrini. When Celebrini and Bedard, like their first few games in the NHL, they looked like they thought it was going to be easier than it was. They didn't play with the level of intensity they do now. Like you could argue Celebrini, because he plays harder and faster, he's now a top 15 player? You could argue now in the league. But it's because he realized this isn't going to come easily to me. One of the problems that happens here in EHC is that some of these young guys, they come to the league and they think, oh, well, I played internationally. I played in the WHL, the AHL, or I played college hockey or whatever they did before they got to the big time. And they're like, I'm great everywhere. This is going to be fine. And then that first hit comes around. They come around the boards and someone smashes them into the boards. Welcome to the league, kid. Like a Radko Gudas, one of them kind of guys. I remember when Connor Bedard got his first hit, I thought he was going to cry, honestly. Like the kid looked like he had never been hit that hard in his life. So I think that's why, Sharon EHC, that Porter Martone of the Flyers is skating so hard, is because I think he realizes, I got to earn my keep. This is for Nick Earnshaw. Shaner says, I will have a hot dog for Nicky Dogs, and my wife will have one with no condiments, since I just bought her a New Jersey. Shaner goes on to say, fantasy sports, you got to pay up front. You have months to plan and pay. Put the money in a shoebox once a week. No excuses, no play, no pay, or pay in hot dogs. Well, I don't know if people want you to pay in hot dogs. Maybe if you want to take, I've always said that, like, if you want to take somebody out for like a drink or something, like go out with your buddies, maybe you want to do something like that, but I don't know about hot dogs. Because what the problem with hot dogs is, and this is just a personal preference, I'm not a big hot dog fan. I think they're kind of overrated. I feel like so many hot dogs today have so many fillers in it. There's like, what are you even eating? It's got all these like nitrates and stuff in it. And it just kind of ruins. Like, I remember when I was a kid, back when I was young. No, but seriously, back when I was young, it was like literally the hot dog was just meat. Now you look at the back of the package on the hot dog and it's like everything but meat is in it. And you're just like, am I even eating a hot dog anymore? So I would never want someone to pay me in hot dogs, especially with some of the hot dogs I see in the store now. I mean, some of the stuff just looks disgusting. I mean, you see the slime on the packets now with some of these hot dogs in the store? It's like they got like the little, like, because, for those who haven't bought hot dogs in the store for a while, so like you have the packets, right? And you have the hot dogs layered in between the slots in the plastic. And you can tell the hot dogs that are like real meat versus the ones that are not, because the ones that are not are, one, super, super shiny. Two, they got this like little like film slime in between them. And like, it looks like if you open the packet, you need to like pat them down like a paper towel before you cook them. Like, because there's a huge difference between like the juice of the meat and like the juice of like whatever it was manufactured in. Because like the juice of the meat, like you open the packet and you can smell it immediately. You can immediately smell the pork or the beef or whatever your preference is, right? But some of these things, you open the packet and it just smells sterile. And you're like, yeah, this ain't a hot dog. Man, we are talking about a lot of random stuff today. Here on Hanging with Hennig on 97.3 ESPN. We'll get to more of your text a little bit on the other side, 609-403-0970. I will get the poll question up. What are you guys more juiced for? Sounds like Sharon EHC, he is most juiced for the Flyers getting back in the playoff action. I know Nick Earnshaw, he's a guy who's all about the Sixers. Or are you someone who's happy the Phillies are back? I had someone tell me the other day that when the WBC ended, that they were like, I got nothing to watch for a week. I'm like, well, I got the Flyers and Sixers. Like, yeah, I don't care about that. I care about the Phillies and the Eagles. So you got those people as well. You have people who, that's who they like. That's their team. That's their focus. It's part of the conversation. Still to come, NBA insider Brandon Scoopy Robinson will join us at 1 o'clock. Payne Maldonado, ESPN betting analyst, will join us at 2:25. And don't forget the Ivy Rehab Injury Report. Ivy Rehab Physical Therapy Centers with over 18 locations around South Jersey offering best-in-class outpatient physical therapy. They're my physical therapists, and they should be yours too. The Ivy Rehab Injury Report. Dr. Ashley Tress will join us coming up at 1:25 today. All that and more still to come. Hanging with Hennig on 97.3 ESPN FM, the 97.3 ESPN mobile app powered by First Bank of Seattle. And we are streaming live on YouTube and X in the Dr. Squatch virtual studio.
Lanier in transition, hits the three, and a sign of life from Knoxville.
Plant driving right. Lob for Brazil and a two-hand slam.
6 on the clock. Now with 5, he drives on Maddox. Right elbow is raised, spins to the foul line, jumper up, and it rattles in at the buzzer.
Don't miss any of this year's action on the road to the Final Four with Westwood One's exclusive coverage of the men's NCAA tournaments.
Catch all the college basketball tournament coverage on 97.3 ESPN. Brought to you by the New Jersey Lottery's Millionaire for Life.
Tired of cooking and planning all of your meals each and every day? You need Prevail Nutrition to simplify your life. For almost a decade, Prevail Nutrition is a local meal prep company located in South Jersey that allows customers to design their own meal plan. Or you can choose from a wide variety of chef-designed meals on their weekly changing Prevail Selects menu. You can order online for pickup or get free delivery on orders of over $50. Prevail Nutrition delivers to Atlantic and Cumberland counties along with Ocean City. Or you can pick up your meals every Monday and Friday. Learn more about how Prevail Nutrition can simplify your life. Visit their website at prevailnutrition.club. Check out Prevail Nutrition on Facebook and Instagram. Prevail Nutrition is my go-to choice for prepared meals and foods. Order online, like me, at prevailnutrition.club.
Making your home look brand new is what Work of Art Construction can do for you. Ready to remodel your bathroom or have a kitchen makeover? Art Masker has 40 years of experience in construction and knows how to make your home look like a work of art. Want to install a new back deck or invest in a new front door? Just call Art Masker at 609-788-4271 to learn more. Visit Work of Art Construction on Instagram to see how Work of Art Construction can make your home look brand new. Beautify your home with Work of Art. Call him at 609-788-4271 and let them make your home truly a work of art.
Something good to know from First Bank of Sea Isle City. We have all of today's innovative banking products just like the big banks, but we offer something they can't. A personal community focus. Let's get you started with Bill Pay. You save time when you pay your bills online. It's fast, easy, and convenient. First Bank of Sea Isle City. A community bank that delivers more for you every day. Personal service, today's technology, from the people who truly care. Learn more at firstbankseaisle.com.
Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
We're definitely going to be late to the concert. I feel like we should be there by now.
I'm just taking a little detour. I gotta fill up my gas tank, and I know this place a couple towns over where the gas is cheaper.
Are you serious? We're gonna be late for the concert because you're driving out of the way for cheaper gas? Just use Upside.
What's Upside?
Upside is the free cashback app that gets you real cash back for every gallon of gas you buy.
Wait, I can get cash back just for buying the gas I need anyway?
Yes, I use it all the time, and I've made around $200. Now pull over so you can download the Upside app before we miss the concert.
Download the free Upside app now to earn cash back every time you buy gas. Use promo code SHARP25 to get an extra 25 cents per gallon on your first tank. You can cash out anytime, right to your bank, PayPal, or as a gift card for Amazon and other brands. Just download the free Upside app and use promo code SHARP25 for a 25 cents per gallon bonus on your first tank. That's code SHARP25 for a 25 cents per gallon bonus. That's code SHARP25.
Go to get your game on at the Fanatic Sportsbook in the Gallery at Ocean Casino Resort. Go where fans become fanatics at the Fanatic Sportsbook in the Gallery. Go to Ocean Casino Resort. Go for the win. For more information, visit theoceanac.com.
Must be 21 or older to wager or consume alcohol. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER.
You're hanging with Josh Hennig on 97.3 ESPN FM.
Hey, you know what? There's another name you might know me by. Star-Lord.
And on the 97.3 ESPN mobile app, powered by First Bank of Sea Isle City.
Who? Star-Lord, man. Legendary outlaw.
Streaming live on YouTube, Instagram, and the X platform.
Josh Hennig back here on 97.3 ESPN. Don't forget about my friends over at Prevail Nutrition, South Jersey's best meal prep service. You might have seen our series that started on Instagram, where me and the owner, Ashley, we talk about the importance of having real food in your daily life. Listen, it's not about celebrities or people in the media telling you about why you should or shouldn't eat certain things. No, it's about understanding that food is fuel, and Prevail Nutrition can properly fuel your life. Whether you're someone who's trying to get in shape for the summer or you're someone just trying to keep up with your busy life, let Prevail Nutrition simplify your life, offering free deliveries and orders of $50 or more. You can pick up in Absecon, or they deliver each week to Atlantic and Cumberland counties, plus Ocean City. Simplify your life like me and order online at prevailnutrition.club. That's prevailnutrition.club. Simplify your life with real food to fuel your everyday activities. We're all busy, so why not get the food made for you? Prevail Nutrition here on Hanging with Hennig on 97.3 ESPN. Poll question is up at 97.3 ESPN at Josh Hennig. What are you most excited for? Now, I will admit, it was hard for me to phrase this because, X only gives you so many characters. But basically, it's the Phillies' offensive explosion yesterday. I mean, they scored more runs yesterday than the last couple games combined. Sixers' big three winning games, right? They came from behind. They found a way to win the game yesterday. Paul George, Joel Embiid, Tyrese Maxey. Or are the Flyers getting your hopes up, getting you excited? They beat the Islanders. Tough game. On the road, by the way. Of course, you text in as well on the text board at 609-403-0973. Text didn't leave their name, but they said, it's all fun and games on the ice until you taste blood after a cross-check to the back of the head. Well, first of all, that's a penalty. Cross-check to the back of the head is a penalty, the last time I checked. I'm thinking more like just a regular hit on the boards. That's a wake-up call. Because the other problem is that people don't realize this. One of the reasons why we have the rules in the NFL that you can't come out of college at a certain age is because just biologically, humans they haven't hit their physical maturity until their mid to late 20s, sometimes almost 30 for some men. So you're asking 18, 19, 20-year-olds to play with some big, large, powerful human beings, and sure, they might grow into the body they'll eventually have, but right here, right now, they don't got that physiology. Probably running basketball as well. Basketball and hockey prospects kind of fall in the same category for me, which is you have these young men. I don't have much in women's sports because I think the women are a little more balanced in this. The men, they get to the pros and they're like, I've always been the fastest, I've always been the biggest, I've always been the most athletic at almost every level, right? And then they get to the NBA or the NHL and they face that first guy who can keep up with them, or the first athlete who blocks their shot, or in hockey hits them in the boards, or cuts them off on their way to the goal. And they're like, oh snap, I am no longer the biggest, fastest, strongest guy anymore. So we have the NBA. We're going to get into the NBA coming up next with NBA insider Brandon Scoopy Robinson joining me next. Hanging with Hennig on 97.3 ESPN.
Hey, South Jersey, this is Billy Schwein. Tune into The Locker Room every Saturday and Sunday from 10 a.m. to noon on 97.3 ESPN. Each weekend in The Locker Room, you will get passionate sports talk from a fan's perspective, along with interviews with some of the biggest names in sports. That's every Saturday and Sunday from 10 a.m. to noon in The Locker Room with me, Billy Schwein, on 97.3 ESPN and the 97.3 ESPN mobile app, because nothing could be finer than talking sports with the Schweiner.
Developing a habit varies from person to person, but research suggests it typically takes about 66 days to make that habit stick. Simple habits such as drinking water daily may form faster, while more complex ones such as regular exercise or meditation might take longer. Consistency is crucial during this period. Repeating the behavior helps reinforce neural pathways to make the habit automatic. Here are 5 strategies to form a good habit. Set clear goals. Create a daily or weekly routine for your habit. Track your progress in an app or journal. Find an accountability partner to encourage you. And finally, reward yourself by celebrating small victories along the way. I'm Robin Stoloff for Health Update.
Join the Atlantic County Utilities Authority for South Jersey's largest Earth Day Festival, Sunday, April 26, 10 to 4 at ACUA's Environmental Park in Egg Harbor Township. There will be over 150 vendors, live entertainment, tours, hayrides, and free admission. More at acua.com/Earth Day.
The 2026 NFL Draft on ESPN Radio.
So you ready for the draft? Let's get started.
Live from the North Shore of Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania.
You know, I have a unique blend of athleticism and size at this position.
All the teams are sitting there just absolutely licking their chops.
He doesn't have the big-time arm strength. He's good, not elite.
The 2026 NFL Draft.
The Las Vegas Raiders select
Thursday, April 23rd through Saturday, April 25th.
It's the NFL Draft on 97.3 ESPN. Coverage begins at 7 p.m.
Billy, your gas light's on. We need to stop and fill up.
No way, Jen. Gas around here is too expensive. We can make it a little further.
Billy, listen to your big sister. You don't need to drive all over searching for the lowest gas prices. Do what I do and use Upside.
Upside?
Do you live under a rock, Billy? Upside is the hottest cash back app out there. It's free to download, and you get real cash back for every gallon of gas you buy. I use it all the time, and I've already made around $200.
You can make that kind of cash back just for buying the gas you have to buy anyway?
Yes, I'm looking at the Upside app now, and there's a gas station at the next exit offering 25 cents per gallon cash back.
Okay, I'm stopping to download Upside and fill up my tank. Download the free Upside app now to earn cash back every time you buy gas. Use promo code LOOT to get an extra 25 cents per gallon on your first tank. You can cash out anytime right to your bank, to PayPal, or a gift card for Amazon and other brands. Just download the free Upside app and use promo code LOOT for a 25 cents per gallon bonus on your first tank. That's code LOOT for a 25 cents per gallon bonus. Cashback is not available on gas in New Jersey and Wisconsin.
Home of the Philadelphia Eagles.
They got him again!
Sixers.
Bang! It's good! Ball game!
And Flyers.
Tipped in front of the net!
97.3 ESPN. WENJ. WENJ HD. Millville, Atlantic City. A Town Square media station serving all of South Jersey.
Finally! This is Hanging with Hennig.
I have friends everywhere.
On 97.3 ESPN Radio, South Jersey.
In New Jersey. Am I right?
Yeah. Live feed on the 97.3 ESPN mobile app, powered by First Bank of Sea Isle City.
It seems to run on some form of electricity.
Well, you're not wrong.
Streaming live on YouTube, Instagram, and the X platform.
The internet is a communications tool used the world over where people can come together.
Now, here's your host.
He's not gone. That's the whole point. He's never gone.
Josh Hennig.
Hour 2 of Hanging with Hennig on 97.3 ESPN FM, the 97.3 ESPN mobile app, powered by First Bank of Sea Isle. Still to come, the Ivy Rehab injury report with over 18 locations around South Jersey. They're my physical therapy, and they should be yours as well. Dr. Ashley Tress will join us coming up at 1:25 p.m. But right now, we're going to get back to the NBA. Friend of mine, friend of the show, NBA insider Brandon Scoopy Robinson joining us on a holiday weekend. And as I mentioned earlier, you know, people are busy this time of year. So my friend Scoopy, I appreciate you jumping on. Happy Easter weekend. Happy Resurrection Sunday. How you doing today, my friend?
Happy Resurrection, man. I'm doing good. How are you?
I'm doing well. And I want to start with this because, you know, obviously for a lot of people down in this area, you got your Sixer fan, you get your Knicks fans. So everyone's paying attention to the Eastern Conference standings. As we come down the stretch of the season, right, we only got basically 8 days left in the NBA regular season. when you look at the standings right now, is there a team that you're maybe keeping an eye on closer than the rest when it comes to that 1 through 10?
Yeah, the Charlotte Hornets.
They're one of the hottest teams in the league. What is it about them that makes them? It feels like they've just come together at like the right time with their cohesiveness. Like I know there's more to it than that. I've read different articles, like Miran Fader's article at The Athletic. But like for you, what has made this team so scary for the rest of the Eastern Conference from your eyes?
I spent quite a lot of time with them in the first half of the season, and I can give you 2 words: Charles Lee, their head coach. I spent some time with Charles, I think in January, and something he said to me has stood out quite a bit. And he talked about the quote on the wall. He has a quote on the wall every day in his locker room. And it serves as the heartbeat of the locker room, a constant reminder that their mindset is the only thing that they can truly control. And he said to me when we spoke, he said, I more so would ask you to maybe ask the players, because we have a TV in our back. We throw a quote of the day up. The quotes vary in their style. I think some guys are reading it, some guys don't. And he is very sound. If you know anything about Charles Lee, he comes from the Milwaukee Bucks championship team a few years ago under Mike Budenholzer. He came out of that coaching tree. So did Darvin Ham and a few other people. But he's an interesting deep guy. And I think that when you looked at the first half of the season, you really thought they were going to tank. You heard rumors about LaMelo Ball. And then stuff started to come together. Con Canopoulos playing Rookie of the Year style basketball. And then, the fight happened with the Pistons, and they just took it to another level. So, excuse me. That's a team that I've been watching the whole season, and I'm proud of their success.
You mentioned about the coach, Lee, and I think one of the things that happens that bothers me, at least, and you can elaborate on this probably even more than I can, but, he should probably be a candidate for Coach of the Year, but he's probably not going to get the prerequisite votes because his team doesn't have the most wins. And I've always hated that measure because of the fact that you can win a lot of games because you have great players. You don't always win games because of the coach. And I think that there is definitely a culture element when it comes to Charlotte, when it comes to their head coach, Lee. Is that a fair assessment?
Well, I think there's just so many good coaches out there right now. I think that's part of it. I just had this conversation with J.B. Bickerstaff, the head coach of the Detroit Pistons, who arguably, along with Joe Mazzulla, have been carrying their team. And I believe I proposed this idea to J.B. Bickerstaff, where I believe there should be, or the internet has said it, and I think it would be cool, I'll say, to have an all first team coach, like a coach's all first team. And he laughed when I said it. He said it's a hell of an idea, but no. And
but no.
You can check that out over at Scoopy.com. He says it's just one of those things that you wouldn't be able to get enough coaches on board. Like, those awards are well earned and well deserved, but they're more for the players than they are for us. We go out and we do a job, and our job is to support those guys to the best of our abilities and put them in a position to be successful. I think there's so many good coaches across the league. And I just named Mazzulla and I named Bickerstaff, but then you look at Cleveland, you look at their coach, you look at what the Knicks are doing. You look at, there's just a lot of good coaches out there right now. So, yeah, that's my thought process on it. Combination of what I've researched, and but I don't think Lee would get it this year. I think next year he has a good chance.
NBA insider Brandon Scoopy Robinson joining us here on Hanging with Hennig on 97.3 ESPN. Now, personally, the person I would give it to is Joe Mazzulla because of the fact that team has done what they did without Jason Tatum. You talk about a team people thought was going to not do anything this year. People didn't think the Celtics were going to do anything. And now you got Jaylen Brown, who should be an MVP candidate. Mazzulla, to me, is a Coach of the Year candidate. And now Jason Tatum is starting to come into his own. How dangerous are the Boston Celtics?
Very dangerous. I've spent a significant amount of time with the Celtics this year, and you brought up Jaylen Brown. I'll go to that first. I think there should be more conversation about his impact for the Celtics. He told me point blank they didn't think we would win 30 games this season, and he feels like he has to show out a little bit more because of people's expectations. I spoke to Joe Mazzulla. A funny story I've shared on your show. I had asked Joe Mazzulla a couple months ago what Bible verse does he lean on. He's a devout Christian. What Bible verse does he lean on in times like now where, you hear a lot of different things? And he says, I go to Ecclesiastes 18:1. And that reads, for those who don't know, he that liveth forever hath created all things in general. He said, I think it's important, especially in a season where they have all the storylines and a whole bunch of made-up stuff, which comes through every 24 hours. That verse keeps you focused, and today is the most important day, and you have that knowledge that keeps you where you want to be all season. I remember I dropped that. I get an email at midnight the next, I dropped it in the afternoon. This was Martin Luther King Day. This was January, so midnight the next day, that Tuesday. I get an email from Joe Mazzulla. And Joe Mazzulla says, Brandon, I want to thank you for writing that article about my faith. That's the most important thing in my life. Thank you for making that known. Not to brag, but I do think that Joe Mazzulla does, as quirky as he is, I think he's serious about his faith, and I also think he's serious about the game of basketball. And, they were clicking on all cylinders before Tatum got there, and now with Tatum there, it's otherworldly. In a world where we talk about the Knicks, we talk about the Cavs, the Celtics are a constant conversation because they really got Jason Tatum back in less than a year from injury. That's remarkable. That's outstanding. And I think we should be talking more about that. The Pistons, at 56-21, are without Kate Cunningham, and they're still seemingly finding a way to make things happen. I was at the Thunder Pistons overtime game earlier this week, and they competed with a Thunder team that was at full strength minus Jalen Williams. And, that says something. I think that Eastern Conference is very competitive in stature. I mean, I'll name another team. You asked me at the beginning of the show that's scary or that we should be paying attention to in a world where the Hornets are one of the hottest teams in the league. I also think you need to tip your hat off to the Atlanta Hawks, who were in the Eastern Conference doldrums and now are fifth place at 45-33 in the NBA's Eastern Conference under Quinn Snyder. Heck of a team, heck of a transformation after the trade deadline, and I think they're another team we should be applauding and paying attention to.
Of course, obviously in our area, a lot of people are paying attention to the Philadelphia 76ers, and we're talking with NBA insider Brandon Scoopy Robinson here on Hanging with Hennig on 97.3 ESPN. The big three are back, but I think the biggest part of the big three has been Paul George. He looks the healthiest he has ever looked, and if he was not credited with 10 deflections last night, he absolutely should. I felt like he was hands everywhere in the second half of that Timberwolves game, and it feels like it's been a consistent point since he has returned, which is his defense is almost more valuable than his offense. What is your perspective on the Sixers with the return of Paul George? Because he looks like he's a rejuvenated man.
25 games may have been a blessing in disguise for him, if you ask me. Paul George is definitely clicking on all cylinders, and he's actually filling holes in a place where Joel Embiid is in and out of the lineup. And I really am interested to see going into the playoffs, how both he and VJ Edgecombe can play together on the wing in the playoffs. I think that's a deadly combination.
Deadly combination. Absolutely.
Yeah, I do think that I like the 76ers and where they are right now. I think the 76ers at points during the season look like a championship team. And sometimes they look like they were in East Coast hell as far as being a pot of color. And then other times they look like they could hang with the top of the pack, which consistently goes up and down, whether that be the Orlando Magic, the Toronto Raptors, the Bucks, and more. But I think realistically, when I look at the standings in the Eastern Conference, the Sixers are where they should be. I think the only team that's pretty surprising to me this season and where they are is really the Bucks, and we're talking specifically strictly the Eastern Conference. And but I think the Sixers, for as much as they've been hurt, as much as they've dealt with suspension, as much as they've dealt with Embiid being out, Maxey being out, and us having questions about the front office, Philly has been consistently active in a myriad of ways. And so I use this phrase on your show. I've used it in other places. Going into the playoffs, Philly could be that fifth cup of wine at the holiday party that make you have to take an Uber home because they sneak up on you.
That is true. You know, the other part of it, because you mentioned VJ Edgecombe, you know, I was listening to an interview with Kelly Oubre last night, and he was talking about how that, you know, Edgecombe doesn't get enough credit for the rookie year that he is having. And, you know, I feel like a lot of people who watch the Sixers consistently know about Edgecombe. Maybe the rest of the league doesn't, because, you know, this young man has come in and I think exceeded almost everyone's expectations in terms of his offensive game, in terms of his consistency on both ends of the court. I think that VJ Edgecombe, you know, you just talked about how the 25 games was a blessing in disguise for Paul George. Well, you wouldn't have gotten Edgecombe if last year didn't fall apart and he didn't land that third overall pick. So you could argue that Edgecombe, big picture, might be the blessing in disguise for the 76ers season.
VJ Edgecombe for the Sixers is what Sixers thought Ace Bailey would be for Philly. And he wasn't. However, Ace Bailey was who Ace Bailey needed to be in Utah. And I think VJ Edgecombe was a better fit because VJ Edgecombe coming out of college was kind of an unknown and he was understated to some. And everybody just jumped on the Ace Bailey bandwagon. But I think Ace Bailey needed his own team, so to speak. And while Utah is Utah, the Sixers are the Sixers. And I just think in the long run, Edgecombe was going to be a better fit for a myriad of reasons. If you go back to my reporting from last summer as it related to Ace Bailey, you saw it. However, I just think VJ Edgecombe is where he needed to be. And I'm glad that Philly got him.
Couple more for NBA insider Brandon Scoopy Robinson before we let him go here on Hanging with Hennig on 97.3 ESPN. Of course, streaming live on YouTube and X in the Dr. Squatch virtual studios. When you look at the Eastern Conference, because you mentioned a few minutes ago that, you know, the Sixers could be, you know, that glass of wine that sneaks up on you in the fourth or fifth time round. Who is the team that least wants to see the 76ers in a playoff series?
I would say the Knicks.
It's interesting you say that because a lot of Sixer fans, they want the Knicks. There's a lot of Sixer fans in this area who are rooting. They want the Knicks in the first round.
Yeah, I think the Knicks, the Philly-New York rivalry will forever be a thing. Having grown up in both New York City and New Jersey equally and going to school in the main line, I have always enjoyed seeing Philly and New York. Being in the middle of it and seeing them, just seeing both of my regions go at it, I think it's always a cool thing. We saw it in the playoffs a few years ago. And I felt like Philly and New York back then, I felt like Philly that year, a couple seasons ago, dealt with a lot of injuries and really took the Knicks to the metal. I'd like to see that again. I also am curious to see how Philly and Detroit would play out, because I do think they're both very scrappy teams, but scrappy differently.
Right.
And just because of the history there, even with Tobias Harris, a healthy Tobias Harris in Detroit, I'd like to see him get the attention in Philly and see how that would play out in a series. Cleveland, I think Cleveland, I've spent a lot of time around them this season, and I don't know that Philly could beat Cleveland. But I do think that seeing Harden go against his old team and being in the Eastern Conference would be just interesting to watch. But I think the team that I really think would be interesting and must see TV would be Philly and the Knicks for sure.
Before I let you go, you just mentioned the team I got to ask you about really quick is the Detroit Pistons. With Cade Cunningham, still not back from his issues with his lung and the complicated recovery that goes into that. For you, is there any concern that the Pistons, a team that has played so well this year, that they may not hit their potential if Cade Cunningham is not on the court for them in the first round? They could potentially get upset.
I spent some time with the Pistons this week, and they're locked and loaded from guys that I've spoken with and their head coach. They like their chances, and they're expecting Cade to come back for the playoffs and pick up where he left off at. And I really do think that I saw them, the Pistons, with no Cade and some other pieces on that team, take a Thunder team to overtime on a random Monday night earlier this week. I really do think that Detroit is scrappy. I think Detroit is competitive, and whether they have Cade or not, I think they're going to go full throttle. So I don't take anything away from them because I really think they've been consistent all year. So yeah, those are my thoughts on the Pistons. I think the Pistons can still be competitive with or without Cade.
He's NBA insider Brandon Scoopy Robinson. Check him out on X and Instagram at Scoop B. Check out Scoopy Radio on YouTube or wherever you get your favorite podcasts, as well as his latest coverage of Sixers big man Andre Drummond. He had a conversation with him recently as well. My friend, appreciate you jumping on. Enjoy the rest of the weekend. Safe travels.
Thank you, brother. Thank you for the opportunity to be myself as always.
Absolutely. Always great to talk with NBA insider Brandon Scoopy Robinson here on Hanging with Hennig, 97.3 ESPN FM, 97.3 ESPN mobile app powered by First Bank of Seattle City, streaming live on YouTube and X in the Dr. Squatch virtual studio. Hey, coming up on the other side, we have the Ivy Rehab injury report. And what's interesting about this week is that we're talking less about some of these injuries that have happened to impact teams. Now we're talking about injuries, about the why some of these athletes are able to come back. How on earth does Tyson Forrester go from a guy who's going to be out 5 to 6 months and return in 4 months? What kind of rehab goes into that kind of recovery? All that and more in the Ivy Rehab injury report coming up with Dr. Ashley Tress joining us here on 97.3 ESPN. Of course, Ivy Rehab with over 18 locations around South Jersey with best-in-class physical therapy. They're my physical therapists, and they should be yours as well. Speaking of mine, listen, one of my favorite places to go in South Jersey is Hang Time Bar and Grill on the White Horse Pike in Galloway because they got over 30 TVs. So with the NCAA tournament coming on at 6 p.m., you have the 76ers playing at 7 p.m., the Phillies coming on at 8 p.m. Well, you need enough TVs to keep up with all the action, and that's why you need to visit my friends at Hang Time Bar and Grill. Bring in the fun with friends and family and enjoy your next night out at Hangtime Bar and Grill, located on the White Horse Pike in Galloway. With live music every Tuesday night, DJ bingo every Wednesday night, and 30 TVs to watch your favorite teams play, good times and great food is waiting for you at Hangtime Bar and Grill. Check out Facebook and Instagram to learn more about Hangtime Bar and Grill's weekly specials and one of the best happy hours in South Jersey on the White Horse Pike in Galloway at Hangtime Bar and Grill.
Lanier in transition, hits the three, and a sign of life from Knoxville. Plant driving right. Lob for Brazil and a two-hand slam.
6 on the clock. Now with 5, he drives on Maddox. Right elbow and 3, spins to the foul line. Jumper up and it rattles in at the buzzer.
Don't miss any of this year's action on the road to the Final Four with Westwood One's exclusive coverage of the men's NCAA tournaments.
Catch all the college basketball tournament coverage on 97.3 ESPN. Brought to you by the New Jersey Lottery's Millionaire for Life.
Making your home look brand new is what Work of Art Construction can do for you. Ready to remodel your bathroom or have a kitchen makeover? Art Masker has 40 years of experience in construction and knows how to make your home look like a work of art. Want to install a new back deck or invest in a new front door? Just call Art Masker at 609-788-4271 to learn more. Visit Work of Art Construction on Instagram to see how Work of Art Construction can make your home look brand new. Beautify your home with Work of Art. Call him at 609-788-4271 and let them make your home truly a work of art.
LinkedIn is pretty amazing at helping you grow your small business. We cannot stop your new clients from emailing you at 3 a.m. We can help you sell, market, and hire in one place. We cannot help you be in 3 places at once. And while we can't help you organize your calendar, LinkedIn can help you land more clients so you have a calendar to organize. Grow your small business on LinkedIn. Learn more at linkedin.com/smallbusiness. Here he comes.
Surprise! There's an avocado shortage! Now half your food truck menu is costing more than it's making you! Also, you're out of napkins!
Those aren't cheap!
Progressive knows small business owners usually don't like surprises because they cost you money. But a good surprise? Saving 13% on commercial auto insurance when you pay in full.
Also, an ice cream truck stole your parking spot! Looks like you're in a turf war!
Surprise yourself. See if you can save in as little as 8 minutes at progressivecommercial.com. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. Discounts not available in all states or situations.
Something good to know from First Bank of Sea Isle City. We have all of today's innovative banking products just like the big banks, but we offer something they can't. A personal community focus. Let's get you started with Bill Pay. You save time when you pay your bills online. It's fast, easy, and convenient. First Bank of Sea Isle City. A community bank that delivers more for you every day. Personal service, today's technology, from the people who truly care. Learn more at firstbankseaisle.com.
Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
Now back to Hanging with Hennig on 97.3 ESPN FM.
Boy, that escalated quickly.
And on the 97.3 ESPN mobile app, powered by First Bank of Sea Isle City.
I mean, that really got out of hand fast.
Streaming live on YouTube, Instagram, and the X platform.
Hang with Hennig on 97.3 ESPN. We'll get back to text board in just a bit at 609-403-0973. I see Ray from EHT, Johnny G from Ocean City. Your texts and more still to come. But right now, joining us for the Ivy Rehab Injury Report. Ivy Rehab with over 18 locations with best-in-class physical therapy around South Jersey. Dr. Ashley Tress joins us as there's some interesting injury conversations they get into, and Ashley will kind of give us some insight about the how behind some of these situations could even be occurring, because I know for me, anytime anyone talks about an injury, it's like people come to me and they'll be like, well, did you have this injury? And it's like, yes or no. And if you did have the injury, you're like, well, I don't actually know. I'm not an expert on these things. So Ashley, we appreciate you jumping on today. How's it going?
It's good. I'm glad to be here. It's beautiful weather outside, just in time for all the spring sports, and baseball's kicking off. So ready to be back in the thrall of it.
Well, we appreciate you jumping on. We'll only keep you indoors for so long that you can go out and enjoy it with everybody else. Let's start with Flyers forward Tyson Forrester, because a lot of people are shocked that a guy who people thought he was not going to come back this season. He was done. I mean, that upper body injury he sustained looked very serious back in December. Then he had surgery a week later, and then you see him come out. Of course, Flyer fans were losing their mind the other night because he got tripped up and almost flew into the board. He might have re-injured himself, but he ended up being fine. So talk to the audience about what would go into someone who had surgery to come back a month or two earlier from an injury that would have to do with the shoulder and the bicep?
Yeah, definitely. So a lot of times it really depends on one, the type of injury, and two, the type of surgery that was required in order to fix those typical types of tissues. We have obviously different types of tissues throughout the body, ligaments, muscles, bones, tendons, and each of those different types of tissues have different healing times. The biological healing times is really what drives the first half of these rehab processes. So, for example, a person who has like a rotator cuff tear, that's a lot of muscles. You have to reattach the muscles to the tendons, to the bones. Those tendons need at least 6 weeks to adhere to the bone in order to prevent recurrent injury, recurrent tear. So you want to shut those muscles down and not really use them for at least 6 weeks to allow for that biological healing time. And depending on other factors, any previous past medical history, any previous injuries, those types of things also play a huge role into that kind of recovery time. So based off, every surgery is a little bit different. Every surgeon's a little bit different. So protocols do kind of vary a little bit, but generally that first couple of weeks, it's really that we call that kind of phase one. It's really just to shut down the area, really control pain, really control inflammation, and just gentle kind of motion. Sometimes they're typically in a sling, but again, it depends on the type of surgery. It depends on the protocol. And that sometimes that can vary between 4 to 6 weeks. From there, we can kind of progress into some gentle passive motion. That's when your physical therapist can kind of move the arm or the limb through gentle range of motion. Again, just trying to prevent any kind of stiffness. Again, that can be between from that 4, 6 to 12 weeks, depending on the type of surgery. From there, once you kind of hit that 8 to 12, 10 week kind of range, that's when we can start some gentle strengthening. That allows any of those ligaments, muscles, tendons that allow that biological healing time to have those healing properties, give it time to rest and relax and be prepared for what's to come. We gradually progress the strengthening. We don't want to do too much, too fast, too soon. That's how we progress and make injuries and surgeries worse. A lot of tendinitises and tendinopathies tend to come from that too fast, too soon, too much kind of overload. And we really want to prevent that. So, sometimes it's a slow and steady wins the race kind of approach, but we do have to be very consistent with those healing times. Once we kind of get to that 16-week range, so now we're kind of talking about that 4-month range, if we're kind of putting in months time, that's when we can really start working on a little bit more of that sport specific. We can start driving into those higher level, more fun kind of activities, those plyometrics, for like some chest presses or some bounces, kind of getting back into that sport level type of rehab. And then from there, around that 24-week kind of, or that 20, that kind of area, once we get into that phase 5, that's when we get back to that return, that really heavy return to sport phase. Generally, those can depend based off of the sport. Obviously, we were going to rehab somebody with a baseball shoulder injury, different than a hockey player injury. Those are two very, very different sports, very different mechanics, very even different psychological mindsets of what you have to kind of get back to. So addressing those psychological factors throughout the entire rehab process is also a huge goal and aspect to recovery as well. Generally, those kind of return to sports starts with those performance kind of like, hey, let's just start getting used to those motions again. Once the team and the team doctor, the team therapist decide that, okay, that's all looking good, and they clear them for to return to their practice kind of programs. Generally, those start off with those kind of non-contact drills, just light, skating, just holding the stick, those types of activities. Then they can progress into a contact type of drill, more physical practices. And then once they're deemed that it's safe and everything's okay, that's when they're kind of returned to play. Based off of, so there's a lot of different aspects that kind of go into this kind of return to play as far as timeline is concerned, depending on, and we've seen it in, concussion protocols across different sports as well, how quickly people progress through those concussion protocols. People can kind of progress through those contact drills, non-contact return to play kind of protocols as well. It's not we like to see it being linear, but sometimes we do have it, kind of fluctuate a little bit.
All right, so let's backtrack a little bit, because let's say someone comes into IV rehab, right? Let's say somebody, had a shoulder or an arm procedure, right? And they are progressing well. So, give an example of, what is a checkpoint? What is hey, they can do this, and this is an obvious example of why you can maybe take that step from the light work to the more heavier work, or from the heavier work to the more explosive work? What are the kind of checkpoints that IV rehab would check with somebody if they walked in and they were working with them for a few months?
Yeah, definitely. So other than kind of abiding by those biological healing times, we also look for muscle and joint kind of compensation. So a lot of times we see with any kind of rotator cuff pathology, or really a lot of shoulder pathologies in general, people tend to really want to hike that shoulder because those muscles are not working as properly as they should. The rhythm isn't where it should possibly be. There's a certain ratio we like to see as far as shoulder blade movement compared to arm movement. So that's where a lot of times you see a lot of people trying to reach, and they're kind of shrugging up their shoulder that way. So really trying to focus and hone in on a lot of those very tiny, minute, specific biomechanics to make sure that those muscles are firing appropriately. We're not getting any of those compensations. So, we can see somebody raising their arm. Oh, look, that's moving great. We don't see that compensation. Now let's add a little bit of weight. And now you give them a 1 pound, little pink 1 pound dumbbell, and they're like, oh my gosh, I can't lift this. They're like, oh, but I can lift my arm. But then you're starting to see that compensation. So then we try to start being creative and say, okay, well, you can get to maybe this point before you start hiking. Let's shorten that range, or let's bring you up to a certain point and then continue to progress there. So there's a lot of individual specific care to say, oh, what are you able to do? What's our goal? And then it's kind of a teamwork as to say, what can I do to make that person get to their goals within our knowledge and biomechanics?
Let's get to another point, because you mentioned baseball earlier. This situation, I think, is absolutely wild. It's a non-Philly sports team, but I think it's an injury that, I know for me, and I've been covering sports for a long time, I was like, wait, what? So for those who haven't heard, Jose Berrios, who's pitched in the league for over a decade, he has a right elbow stress fracture, but he will not need surgery. He's in the middle of his throwing program, and they're hoping to rebuild his arm back up, because apparently you can have a stress fracture in your elbow and you can still pitch. How on earth is that even possible? Because, when people hear stress fracture, they think, gotta shut the guy down. But the Blue Jays are saying, no, it's not bad enough to shut you down completely. You just don't need surgery. We can rehab you back. So what is a stress fracture in the elbow, and what does that mean for someone recovering?
So generally what happens with a stress fracture is that it's a lot more of an overuse type of injury. Very different than, say, like a tendonitis or a tendinopathy. So those like I mentioned before, the muscles are tendons and they attach to bone. And bone is actually living tissue. A lot of people don't really kind of think about that. So when you use a muscle and the muscle pulls on the bone has to kind of break down and then reform in order to make it stronger, in order to support all of that extra load. I mean, these guys are pitching, 90 average, 100 miles an hour for at minimum 70 pitches, a game. That's a lot of force going through these types of structures. And, if you don't have the proximal support, if your rotator cuff, your proximal shoulder muscles aren't strong enough to generate that kind of thing, or the lower wrist muscles are doing something a little bit different, depending on the type of pitch you're trying to throw, that's ending up having a lot of torque and a lot of force on that inside part of the elbow. Especially with baseball, you see a lot of those UCLs, those Tommy John type of injuries, but that's looking really more specific at those ligaments that attach bone to bone. So what happens here with the stress fracture is the muscle is pulling on the bone, and the bone's not necessarily strong enough to withstand all those types of forces. So, generally what we try to do initially when you have those types of stress fractures, we do initially try to shut everything down. Depending on, the pain level, a lot of times the pain level really kind of drives some of these rehab processes also. So if he's like, yeah, it's bothersome, it's a little achy, but I ice it and I can kind of get through it, then that could be a component to say, all right, low pain levels, less than a 3 out of 10. Let's try to increase it a little bit more. So we may have to shut it down for a day or two. And then, we can start gradually reloading those tendons and the tendons, the muscles, the bones in order to get back to where he needs to be. I would definitely be a little optimally cautious. It is the beginning of the season, so we don't want to do too much too soon, too fast, and just kind of keep it in the back of our minds.
I want to point out the part about how sometimes the pain can dictate the recovery, because I know I went through that with myself where, for my rehab, Ivy Rehab physical therapy, for me, it was a part of my neck was still not recovered, but it wasn't the part of the neck that was the main source of the injury. So, for me, that was like something I had to have a conversation with about, hey, this is still bothering me. What can we do about it? And that dictated the rehab moving forward. So I think it's an important thing to point out to people that, when they come to Ivy Rehab physical therapy, you guys are going to be like, hey, talk to me about what the pain is. Talk about what you're feeling, because if we know what you're feeling, we can better address it.
Yeah, definitely. And it's such a huge component. And I spend a lot of time with my patients on all of this kind of education component. A lot of people come to me, they're like, I have no idea why my shoulder hurts. And I'm like, well, you have some tendonitis, it's your rotator cuff. They're like, yeah, but it hurts here. And I'm like, and I just have to explain that that's a very common referral pattern. A lot of our muscles have specific motor patterns and referral patterns to tell us and give us an idea as to where, the kind of pain is. Also, the kind of pain also tells us a little bit more, whether it's a burning kind of pain or is it a sharp shooting kind of pain? Is it numbness, tingling? If I have somebody saying, oh, I have shoulder pain, and it hurts my shoulder when I turn my head to the right, well, maybe we want to look up to the neck a little bit more, because it's very common that, those nerves are being pinched coming from the neck. Maybe we have some disc issues or some other joint mobility deficits that we have to address. And it's difficult for people to understand. They're like, well, my shoulder hurts, but the really driving factor is coming from the neck, or it's coming from a different area of the body. So a lot of that education component is so super important. And I think that kind of goes across any field of physical therapy, whether it's, community-based like what we do, or if it's definitely even at the higher levels with all the sports.
And again, Ivy Rehab Physical Therapy with over 18 locations around South Jersey. First-in-class physical therapy. They're my physical therapists, and they should be yours as well. And Dr. Ashley Tress joined us here on Hanging with Hennig on 97.3 ESPN. Ashley, really appreciate you jumping on. Great stuff today. Kind of explain to the audience some of the how and the why for some of these athletes.
Yeah, definitely. It was fun to be on.
Appreciate you jumping on. We'll talk soon.
All right. Thank you.
Josh Hennig here in the 97.3 ESPN Studios, hanging with Hennig on 97.3 ESPN FM, 97.3 ESPN mobile app powered by First Bank of Seattle. Hey, don't forget about Caesars Sportsbook, the only sportsbook app offering Caesars rewards. They're my go-to sportsbook, and it's because every bet you place on every sport does more. More perks, more ways to play, more ways to help you level up your experience like only Caesars can offer. Because when you bet with Caesars Sportsbook, you don't just follow the action, you become a part of it. Baseball, basketball, hockey, all the games, all season long. One app, endless rewards. You're earning perks with every wager. You can get hotel stays, bonus bets, game tickets, and more. Download the app. Use my promo code RADIO, DYW. Then place your first bet of $1 or more for a chance to double your winnings on your next 10 bets. 10 chances to boost your play just for stepping on the field with Caesars Sportsbook. Open to new users in New Jersey at 21 or older. Max bet of $25 for boosted winnings. Max additional winnings, $2,500 per bet. Profit boost tokens expire 14 days after receipt. See Caesars.com/promos for full terms. If you or someone you know has a gambling problem, call 1-800-GAMBLER. Back at text board on the other side, 609-403-0973. Josh Hennig, hanging with Hennig, 97.3 ESPN FM, the 97.3 ESPN mobile app, powered by First Bank in Seattle City. And we are streaming live on YouTube and X at Josh Hennig in the Dr. Squatch virtual studio.
Sunday morning in the locker room with Billy Schwein, producer Alex Berardis, and my intern Aaron Ewing join me in the studio. The Phillies are in Colorado and will finish up their 3-game series on Sunday. We will go on the mound with former Phillies pitcher Tommy Green, brought to you by Blitz's Market of Ocean City. Tommy talks Phillies baseball and previews Sunday's game. Hour 2, Mr. Negadelphia, P.J. Corda checks in, brought to you by the Vassar Pool Service. Sixers, Flyers, Eagles talk and more. It's the locker room with Billy Schwein, Sunday morning from 10 a.m. to noon on 97.3 ESPN.
Tired of cooking and planning all of your meals each and every day? You need Prevail Nutrition to simplify your life. For almost a decade, Prevail Nutrition is a local meal prep company located in South Jersey that allows customers to design their own meal plan. Or you can choose from a wide variety of chef-designed meals on their weekly changing Prevail Selects menu. You can order online for pickup or get free delivery on orders of over $50. Prevail Nutrition delivers to Atlantic and Cumberland counties along with Ocean City. Or you can pick up your meals every Monday and Friday. Learn more about how Prevail Nutrition can simplify your life. Visit their website at prevailnutrition.club. Check out Prevail Nutrition on Facebook and Instagram. Prevail Nutrition is my go-to choice for prepared meals and foods. Order online, like me, at prevailnutrition.club.
For 23 years, we've helped athletes at all levels at Clemic Performance Method, from youth to pros, increase maximum velocity, acceleration, vertical leaps, and general physical preparedness. We offer youth, high school, and pro college classes. Our proven results have earned national recognition from NFL coaches, sponsors, and a feature on ESPN Radio's Sports Science segment. You can contact me directly at 609-742-6190, or as always, visit our website, clemicperformancemethod.com.
Taxes was feeling so stuck. Sitting in traffic, squeezing into a parking spot, all to squeeze in getting tax help during your lunch break. Now Taxes is a TurboTax expert who does your taxes for you, while you go about your day getting real-time notifications about their progress and the most money back guaranteed. Now this is Taxes. Intuit TurboTax. See guarantee details at turbotax.com/guarantees. Only available with TurboTax experts. Real-time updates only in iOS mobile app.
Time for March fun. Fill out your brackets and head to Ventnor Social to catch all the live action of the basketball tournament. Watch every game on 20 big screens. Enjoy game day food specials, wing specials, and cold drafts. While you're there, create your own action and play one of the many video games they have on site in their arcade. Ventnor Social is your basketball headquarters this March. Ventnor Social on Ventnor Avenue. Visit their Facebook page for up-to-date info and specials.
Straight Talk Wireless presents Pickup Truck Wisdom.
If you're only good to your new friends, you're not going to have any old ones. Straight Talk gets it. That's why new and existing customers get free 5G phones on Verizon's 5G network. Pretty simple, really. You keep good people by being good people.
Find us at straighttalk.com and Walmart. Straight Talk Wireless. Straightforward. Always. Taxes and fees apply. Plan purchase required for free phone offers. Copyright 2026 Verizon.
Thy ticket, Lady Jennifer of Coolidge.
Well, many thanks, good sir. Hereeth my Discover card.
They accept Discover at Renaissance fairs?
Yeah, they do here. Discover is accepted at the places I love to shop. Getteth with the times.
With the times? You're playing the lute.
Yeah, and it sounds pretty good, right?
Discover is accepted at 99% of places that take credit cards nationwide.
based on the February 2025 Nielsen report.
You're hanging with Josh Hennig on 97.3 ESPN FM.
People will come, Ray.
And on the 97.3 ESPN mobile app, powered by First Bank of Sea Isle City.
People will most definitely come.
Streaming live on YouTube, Instagram, and the X platform.
Josh Hennig back here on Hanging with Hennig on 97.3 ESPN. Just want to remind you before we get back to the text board at 609-403-0973. And our poll question at 973 ESPN. What are you more excited for, the Phillies, Sixers, or Flyers? Next Saturday, special edition of Hanging with Hennig back on the road. We will be at Whale Tail Brewing Company. So here's the lowdown. Next Saturday, Phillies at 1 o'clock. The Masters are on next weekend. So, Hanging with Hennig will be at Whale Tail Brewing, where they have multiple TVs for you to watch all the action. You can come on down. We have a special Phillies and Masters watch party. And Hanging with Hennig will be live 12 to 1 p.m. leading up to the Phillies game. And then we will come on live after the Phillies game is done to kind of recap the game, kind of get you locked and loaded for the rest of your weekend. So I will be at Whale Tail Brewing all day next Saturday. So come on down to watch the Phillies game, watch the Masters. And, of course, if you're betting the Masters, Pam Maldonado from ESPN.com will be joining me coming up at 2:25 on Hanging with Hennig on 97.3 ESPN. Whale Tail Brewing down on Indian Trail Road across the street from Home Depot in Cape May Courthouse, New Jersey. Or if you're someone who's driving down the Parkway, that would be exit 6. And instead of going right to North Wildwood, you go left. It's actually like a minute off the Parkway. It's like really easy to get to. So Whale Tail Brewing will be the start of our brew tour. We'll be bouncing around different breweries around South Jersey. We're still solidifying the details of all the locations, but Whale Tail is going to be our first stop. We'll also be stopping into Slack Tie Brewing Company down in Dennis Township on Route 9, as well as Gusto Brewing in North Cape May. So keep it tuned to 97.3 ESPN and follow me on social media at Josh Hennig for all the latest updates and all these stops for the Hanging with Hennig Brew Tour around South Jersey. All right, back to the text board, 609-403-0973. Johnny G chimes in from Ocean City. Johnny chimed in a little bit earlier and says, hey, Josh, Sixers and Flyers are both going to be out in the first round of the playoffs. The Phillies' offensive explosion by far has got me the most excited. They are currently among the leaders in runs scored after 7 innings, so they are never out of it. Always collect the money before the fantasy league starts. Too many variables like death, jail, etc. Go Phillies. Johnny G in Ocean City. Well, I got to admit, Johnny G, when it comes to collecting for fantasy football, death and jail were not really the top of mind. But, I mean, I get your point. Things do happen. Yeah, things do happen in this world. Listen, I think there's a lot of reason to be excited about the Phillies. But to me, the biggest reason to be excited about the Phillies is not the offense. It's the young players. You had Painter be your stopper this week, stop a losing streak. Justin Crawford helped win you a game, walk-off, right? I believe, he was the first walk-off by a rookie in like 30 years, something like that for the Phillies. So, you're talking about two young players who are just changing the entire how we view the team. Now, if you go back to the locker room with Billy Schwein, they're talking about, the Bryce Harper versus Jalen Hurts thing. And, part of the reason why, though, Johnny G, people are so apprehensive about the Phillies is because of Bryce Harper. Because Bryce Harper, he went in his, Dombrowski said, I'm not elite. I'm going to come in here. I'm going to prove everybody wrong. Well, he hasn't done much. Couple of nice big hits, but no real consistency. Harper, when he first came to the big leagues, he was a prodigy. He was supposed to be like the baseball version of LeBron James. He was on the cover of Sports Illustrated. He was drafted to high school. He was a phenom. And, on paper, the majority of his career has looked like the player we were promised. But he's got no championships. He's had some injuries that have completely derailed him. And between him, Trey Turner, JT Realmuto, you have 3 players who are being paid a lot of money who haven't won you nada. during their tenure. So I think that's why, maybe people are a little less excited about the Phillies. But hey, I understand you're saying, look, the Sixers and Flyers, they don't have the potential. The Phillies, I got a long season of potential ahead of me. So I get what you're saying, Johnny G in Ocean City. 609-403-0973. Ray in EHC chimes in and says, why did the Sixers play Joel Embiid last night, but then probably not tonight against Detroit? At least the Eastern Conference side of game. That's probably more important to us to win. Well, it's for two reasons. One, because Detroit doesn't have Cade Cunningham. And frankly, they should be able to beat the Pistons with just Maxey and Paul George and VJ Edgecombe. Now, I have to double check. I don't know if Embiid has been officially ruled out for tonight or not. So I think we're all just assuming that because he doesn't play back-to-backs, right? I'm going to double check that. I got Vince telling me in the studio that he doesn't see anything that Embiid has been officially ruled out because I'm not seeing anything either. So, but I think we're all just kind of assuming that because, again, Embiid doesn't play back-to-backs. I think the bigger point is, okay, I hear it. Kai Carlin has it. Joel Embiid is out tonight. Injury management. Jedi Broom is out. That's kind of weird. Okay, so Embiid is out. But we kind of expected that anyway. So that wasn't a far-fetched thing for Ray and HT to say. I think it's more about the fact that you should be able to beat Detroit, who don't have Cade Cunningham, with just Paul George and Tyrese Maxey. I think that's what it is about Ray and EHT. I would also say that I actually was more interested about the fact that he complained last night about him not playing the other day. And, we all took it as like an April Fool's joke that Joel Embiid wasn't playing and he was complaining about it. But he sounded very unhappy about it last night after the game. And I think Joel, for lack of a better term, needs to chill out. You have a long history of injury and health issues. This organization is doing everything in their power to get him to the finish line for a healthy postseason run. So if you got to not play a game and the Sixers deem it necessary for you not to play, shut up, sit on the bench, and don't complain. That's what I would say. Ray and EHC also goes on to say, to me, Boston and Oklahoma City are two best teams in the NBA. Not saying the Spurs can't take OKC in a series because they seem to have their number recently. But to me, Joe Mazzulla, he should definitely be a candidate for Coach of the Year, and OKC has one of the best coaches as well. Listen, we get Boston versus OKC in the NBA Finals. I think everyone's going to be ecstatic. I think everyone's going to lose their doggone mind happy about that. Glenn Absika chimes in about the fantasy sports conversation we had in the first hour here on Hanging with Hennig. 609-403-0973 is the text for it. Glenn says, in a perfect world, everyone pays up front at the beginning of the year, but it never happens for whatever reason. Now, to kick a person out because they didn't pay in the beginning isn't easy either. As a commissioner, you shouldn't have to chase people down, so you have to hope people in your league or your group are responsible and get you your fees in a reasonable amount of time. Well, Glenn, so I run the 97.3 ESPN Fantasy League. I've been doing it since 2018. I never kicked out of a guy for not paying in season. I've had to kick people out in season for other reasons, okay? There was some other mitigating circumstances that necessitated me, and I've never had to do this. The fact I've had to do it twice, I don't know if it says about people joining my league, but there have been two different times I've had to kick people out of the league in the middle of the season. That's always a fiasco. But I will say what's interesting, at least to me, is that the whole paying issue is always complicated because, people do have reasons why they can and can't pay sometimes. And I try to be understanding and reasonable. If someone, and again, I used to do $25. To me, $25 is a number that most people can afford, right? So I would understand if someone's having trouble paying, if it's like one of those leagues with like hundreds of dollars. Now I'm like, all right, dude, like, maybe someone doesn't have the money on hand. But to me, when we're talking about $25, that's where I draw the line. if you can't pay $25, you got bigger problems going on in your life than your fantasy football league, right? Because we all waste $25 on a lot of things. All right, more text to get to on the other side. 609-403-0973. Plus, we'll preview the Masters. Get your betting, your props, everything ready for Payne Maldonado coming up at 2:25. Plus, I will finally get to my thoughts on Jalen Hurts and the Eagles. Crazy report that came out this week. I'll tell you my thoughts on it next on 97.3.
Listen up. The soap you shower with, it's you probably haven't even questioned what bar of soap you lather up with. Let's face it, most guys don't. But now you can upgrade your shower game with Dr. Squatch Natural Soap. I'm talking about natural, nourishing, cold-pressed, hand-cut soap for men. Men who use their hands. Men who build things. Men who catch foul balls without spilling their beer. You won't just smell good either. Your skin will be healthier and more nourished. We make our soaps with natural ingredients from the earth. Ingredients like oils, plants, goat's milk, Greek yogurt, oatmeal, shea butter, and citrus. Turn your shower game up to 11. Get ready to step out of the shower feeling alive.
Hey, this is Josh Hennig. Go to my social media and click my exclusive Dr. Squatch link for your chance to save $10 off your next order of great natural soap, deodorant, and much more. Only with Dr. Squatch.
The 2026 NFL Draft on ESPN Radio.
So you ready for the draft? Let's get started.
Live from the North Shore of Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania.
You know, I have a unique blend of athleticism and size at this position.
All the teams are sitting there just absolutely licking their chops.
He doesn't have the big-time arm strength. He's good, not elite.
The 2026 NFL Draft.
The Las Vegas Raiders select
Thursday, April 23rd through Saturday, April 25th.
It's the NFL Draft on 97.3 ESPN. Coverage begins at 7 p.m.
Something good to know from First Bank of Sea Isle City. We have all of today's innovative banking products just like the big banks, but we offer something they can't. A personal community focus. Let's get you started with Bill Pay. You save time when you pay your bills online. It's fast, easy, and convenient. First Bank of Sea Isle City. A community bank that delivers more for you every day. Personal service, today's technology, from the people who truly care. Learn more at firstbankseaisle.com.
Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
It's the biggest night in football and the party of the year at the Balcony Bar at Ocean Casino Resort in Atlantic City. Join the Sports Bash Thursday, April 23rd for our annual Eagles Draft Party.
with the first pick.
Listen every hour for our famous contest sounder to enter for a chance to win club box tickets to see the Eagles play at the Link this season. Plus, we've got an overnight stay at Ocean Casino Resort, concert tickets, gift cards, and more. So, listen for the famous contest sounder each hour on the Sports Bash. When you hear it, be the 7th caller, and you're in to win a pair of club box tickets to see an Eagles game this season at Lincoln Financial Field. Come for the football, stay for the specials, all show long. Get to the Balcony Bar on Thursday, April 23rd for a night of football, prizes, and fun with the Sports Bash.
South Jersey's official play-by-play home of the Eagles, Sixers, and Flyers.
At 0 point would I ever consider not being a fan of the team.
97.3 ESPN, WENJ, WENJ HD, Millville, Atlantic City. A Town Square media station serving all of South Jersey.
Finally! This is Hanging with Hennig.
I have friends everywhere.
On 97.3 ESPN Radio, South Jersey.
In New Jersey. Am I right? Yeah.
Live feed on the 97.3 ESPN mobile app, powered by First Bank of Sea Isle City.
It seems to run on some form of electricity. Well, you're not wrong.
Streaming live on YouTube, Instagram, and the X platform.
The internet is a communications tool used the world over where people can come together.
Now, here's your host.
He's not gone. That's the whole point. He's never gone.
Josh Hennig.
Hour 3 of Hanging with Hennig on 97.3 ESPN FM, the 97.3 ESPN mobile app powered by First Bank of Sea Isle. Streaming live on YouTube and X at 97.3 ESPN. Hanging with Hennig is always being brought to you by my friends over at Prevail Nutrition. Fuel your life. I'm busy. I just ran down the hallway and came back. I mean, Vince looking at me like I'm nuts. But I ran in the hallway to grab something in the kitchen, came all the way back in, and it's because I'm fueled by Prevail Nutrition. Yeah, I can run up and down the hallway because Prevail Nutrition prepares all my meals to fuel my lifestyle. I am busy. I'm working 60, 70 hours a week, folks. So I need food. I got to eat at some point, and Prevail Nutrition hooks me up. Free delivery on orders at $50 or more. You can pick up an Absecon or delivery Mondays and Fridays. Prevail Nutrition delivers to Atlantic and Cumberland counties, plus Ocean City. Go to prevailnutrition.club to order today. Be like me. Order from Prevail Nutrition. Get your food prepared to fuel your life. Whether you're busy, whether you're trying to get in shape for summer, whatever your need is, Prevail Nutrition has got you covered. Josh Hennig hanging out with you on 97.3 ESPN. We'll get back to text board in just a bit at 609-403-0973. Of course, Pam Maldonado, ESPN sports betting analyst, will join us coming up in about 22 minutes from now. But I want to get into all of, and I don't even know what you want to call it. So, this reporting that came out this week, and I understand that maybe everyone didn't read the entirety of both the ESPN.com, Jeremy Fowler, and Tim McManus piece, along with the Jeff McClain article, right? I know it's a lot of reading in today's world. People hate reading. Okay, I get that. But I don't like the narrative out there that people are trying to create these massive, overarching, this is what Jalen Hurts is. It's completely unfair. It's completely unfair and irrational how people are treating this. It really does bother me because I think that, like a lot of things in life, that word nuance is treated like a dirty word, but it's a word that describes the situation. Jalen Hurts can be a Super Bowl winning, championship caliber quarterback and not be as good as Pat Mahomes, Josh Allen, Joe Burrow, okay? He can be both. He doesn't have to be one or the other. And I want to get into some of what the people who reported on the Jalen Hurts story actually said. So, Jeremy Fowler, he made a lot of appearances this week in the aftermath of the story. By the way, the Rangers took a 2-0 lead, so the Rangers doing the Flyers a favor here, trying to take down the Red Wings for him. Send him a gift basket after the game. Although I need Zibanejad to score instead of Peralt, so it would have been nice if Z would have scored, but that's just selfish to me. Anyway, back to the Eagles. So Jeremy Fowler, there was a lot of things he said this week about the behind the scenes of the report. That's kind of what I want to get into, because I think the more people understand the why behind this reporting goes into understanding maybe more context for the report. So Jeremy Fowler was on the Dan Patrick Show, and he explained that despite the conspiracy theories online, the timing of the report had nothing to do with the NFL owners' meetings, had nothing to do with April Fool's Day, had nothing to do with any of those things. Here is Jeremy Fowler, ESPN NFL Insider, explaining what went into the timing of this.
We've actually been working on the story for a while. It just happened to run now because it was ready now. There wasn't like a hard and fast plan to say, hey, let's hit them April 1st, the day after the owners' meetings. The owners' meetings had nothing to do with the story. You're right. The timing was a big topic yesterday and a discourse about the story. Why now? So really, it's just a matter of reporting and vetting something out that you've been working on. When it's ready, it's ready.
And I think that's what's key. And that is Jeremy Fowler basically is telling you the way the world works, not the way that you want the world to work. I think that bothers people because people's minds are like, well, if you knew this, you should have come out with it in December, January, February. When, if anyone who is an Eagles fan had been paying attention to 97.3 ESPN. Sports Pastor Mike Gill, hanging with Hennig on 97.3 ESPN. Inside the Birds for Football at 4. Derek Gunn, Jeff McClain, John McMullen from Birds 365. There's plenty of people out there who had already put some of, if not most of this information out there about Jalen Hurts and the offense. I think what's important to understand is that, and again, my reading of the article was very long, is that it felt like Jeremy Fowler and Tim McMahon saw all the reporting that was going on in October, November, December, and said, let's dig a little deeper into this. And that's where Fowler explains to the Dan Patrick Show that this is a story they started working on during the Eagles season. So kind of think about it. It's a several-month timetable that brought this story full circle.
We started in season because the Eagles offense was clearly off. A.J. Brown, weekly was upset about something on the sideline. Everybody could see it. The passing game was struggling for a second consecutive year, even though they won the Super Bowl in 24. It was one of the worst passing games in the NFL. And so we just sought out to figure out what ails the Eagles offense, what really is the issue, what's the story with Jalen Hurts and A.J. Brown specifically.
And I think that's where the article pivoted. They walked into it saying, what's wrong with the Eagles offense? And as they detail in the article, and has been explained by other people, Jalen Hurts' name came up so much in conversation that he became a centerpiece of the article, okay? And so Fowler wants people to understand Hurts is not the only person to blame for the offense. He's just the guy that people felt like pointing the finger at the most.
And as we dug in with the story and asked more sources, Jalen's name came up a lot. Certainly not the only culprit. Plenty of blame to go around here with the Eagles offense last year, from coaching to offensive line play just wasn't as good. The running holes weren't there for Saquon Barkley. The receivers didn't look as fast. They just didn't look as explosive of an offense. So not all that is on Jalen Hurts, but some of the things highlighted in the piece were accentuated when we brought it up to people and sources, both with the Eagles and in and around the program.
And I think that is an important element that's not been talked about enough. Just because a bunch of anonymous people are willing to point the finger at Jalen Hurts doesn't mean he is the only person to blame. It just means he's the person that people feel the most comfortable pointing the finger at. Because remember, when you point a finger at somebody, there's another finger pointing right back at you. And I think that's the part that bothers me the most about a lot of this dialogue. The Philadelphia Eagles, as an organization, from the players to the coaches to the front office, have gone out of their way to not point the finger at Kevin Patullo. And it's not because Kevin Patullo is without blame. It's because Kevin Patullo was Sirianni's boy, and everybody liked him. Jalen liked him. A.J. Brown liked him. Devontae Smith liked him. The players liked Kevin Patullo as a person. And their affection for him clouded their ability to be judgmental of him. It's like a dysfunctional relationship, okay? You're dating somebody, they do something wrong, and you defend them. Why? Because you love them. You care about them deeply. Instead of saying to them, hey, that what you did is not good. Hey, you lying to me, you cheating on me, you punching the wall in the house and not fixing it, whatever it is, that's unacceptable. You can't be doing that. I'm not going to put up with that. The Eagles never, from what I understand, turned to Kevin Patullo and said, this is unacceptable. So while the whole world was screaming on almost every media platform, almost every person who has half a football brain was saying the play calling is not good, okay? From Nick Foles to Kurt Warner to Josh Hennig to Nick Earnshaw to all of us were saying the same thing. Dan Orlovsky on ESPN, Richard Sherman on Amazon Prime. Everyone's saying the same thing. The play calling stinks. It's not good. It's not effective. The people in the Eagles building refuse to point the finger at Kevin Matullo. Even A.J. Brown said at the end of the year, Kevin did a great job. Did a great job doing what? Showing up every day? And this is where this reporting completely exposes what really went on in the building. See, all these people are willing to tell Tim McManus of ESPN, Jeff McClain of the Philadelphia Inquirer, Derek Gunn, longtime Eagles insider, Jeremy Fowler, national NFL ESPN insider. They're all willing to point the finger at Jalen Hurts. You know why? Because the organization still does not want to admit publicly that Kevin Matullo was a problem and that Kevin Matullo should never have been given that job. From every level of the organization, they refuse to point the finger at Kevin Matullo. So they're making Jalen Hurts the sacrificial lamb. Now, it's not to say that Hurts is void of blame. Because, listen, if you're going into a game and you plan for one set of plays, and then the quarterback is saying, scrap everything we prepared for the last several days, we're doing this, and he does that consistently, that's a problem. Not because it's Jalen Hurts, but because in general, it doesn't matter what job you have. You could be a construction worker. You could be a surgeon at a medical center. You could be, I'm trying to think of, you could be an auto mechanic, right? You could be any job that requires planning before execution. But yet in the middle of the construction job, someone says, we're not doing the drywall anymore. Or in the middle of the surgery. You know what? We're going to do something completely different than we planned. Or during fixing the car, you know what? We're not going to take care of just the oil. We're going to take out the whole engine now. Everyone else is going to be like, what is going on, dude? And I think that's where, for me, I do agree, and I've been saying it for a long time. Mike Gill even agrees with me here on 97.3 ESPN. Josh Hennig, hanging with Hennig, with you in the 97.3 ESPN studios here on the first weekend of April. We're talking about the Eagles because this report gets something very much right that we've all been saying. There's a level of Jalen Hurts that is tone deaf, that is oblivious. This is not me saying it. It's a lot of people who are reporting. I'm not going Becky Lynch on you, but I'm going, it's the idea that Mike Silver, The Athletic, Jeff McClain of the Philadelphia Inquirer, Derek Gunn, ITB, Jeff Mosher, Adam Kaplan. There's a lot of people who have covered the team who have said, Jalen, there's a bit of a disconnect at times. He's not one of the boys, right? Nick Foles has said it on his podcast about how Jalen Hurts is not one of the guys. And it's hard to be that kind of leader that Jalen wants to be when you don't have that connective tissue. And so it makes it easier for all these people to point the finger at Jalen because they like Kevin Matullo. He's their friend. No one wants to speak bad about him. But Jalen, well, he's not my boy. Jalen ain't hanging out with me. He ain't coming to the family barbecue. He ain't hanging out with me after the game. He's not yucking it up with me on the plane flight home. He's by himself. He's doing whatever he wants to do. And that's why Jeremy Fowler explained to the Dan Patrick Show that there was a very delicate balance when it came to writing this report.
It's a delicate balance for a story like this because you have original reporting that you feel like, okay, well, this is the story. This is what's going on with the Eagles and the offense. But he's had immense success. He's got a really unique determination and steely resolve that has helped him overcome a lot. And, we highlighted that throughout the story. We try to provide as much context as we could to Jalen Hurts' side of things or his perspective.
And I think that is the other part of the conversation. Jalen Hurts can be in part to blame for the offensive issues last year, but also still be a championship caliber franchise quarterback. Because football history, you can't name a quarterback who won with a bad football team. It doesn't exist. This narrative out there that Jalen has only had success because he has all pros at wide receiver and one of the best offensive lines in the NFL and an all pro at running back, that's the reason why he won. Well, if that's the case, let's talk some trash about Kurt Warner and trash about Troy Aikman, and let's do a little extra dumping on some other quarterbacks who won championships. I mean, Tom Brady never won a championship with a good defense, right? Every time he lost, his defense let him down. I mean, Russell Wilson would have 2 Super Bowl rings for better play calling, right? Like, you know, we can do this with every quarterback. This idea that Hurts only had success because of the talent around him, congratulations, you just described 95% of the quarterbacks in NFL history. Dan Marino got the 1 Super Bowl, never got back. Why? Because the team around him wasn't very good. You know, John Elway lost not 1, not 2, not 3, 4 times before he won. Well, why did he win? Well, he had a Hall of Famer at running back, and he had a Hall of Famer at tight end, and he had 2 All-Pros at wide receiver, and he had 3 All-Pros in the offensive line in front of him. Do we demerit John Elway because he won with talent? Of course we don't. And this is where Fowler's right. It's a delicate balance because we need to be critical of Jalen when he needs to be critical. Like when he throws those stupid interceptions against the Chargers. But we also need to be fair to him and say, look, he's still a championship winning quarterback. He just needs certain types of coaching around him. And we have documented this a long time here on 97.3 ESPN. Jalen, yes, as the ESPN article confirmed, he has surrounded himself with a lot of yes people. He has surrounded himself with a lot of people who are not willing to speak dark truth. For the uninitiated, dark truth is the truth that you don't want to hear that forces you to go into a dark room and reevaluate yourself. Everyone needs someone in their life who's willing to be constructively critical of them. I don't know about the rest of you listening on 97.3 ESPN FM, watching on YouTube and X in the Dr. Squatch virtual studio. I don't know how the rest of you function, but for me, I know I wouldn't be where I am today if I'd have a little dark truth, a little constructive criticism. And I think Fowler's right. Jalen Hurts has overcome a lot. He has had to deal with the benching at Alabama, the transfer to Oklahoma, going from different play callers, Doug Peterson, to Nick Sirianni, to Shane Steichen, to Brian Johnson, to Kellen Moore, to Kevin Patullo. You know, in college, he went from, he had Lincoln Riley, Lane Kiffin, Steve Sarkisian. Who else did he have in college? Brian Daboll, Mike Loxley. You're talking about guys with a lot of different people in his ear. That's a lot to deal with. Tom Brady and Peyton Manning had stability their entire careers. Guys like Joe Montana had stability almost his entire career. John Elway had only his success with Mike Shanahan. He never won a championship with Mike Shanahan. So who the coach is does matter in football. So we got to stop acting like it's all Jalen Hurts. And as Jeremy Fowler told Dan Patrick, even the Eagles know it's not all Jalen Hurts.
It's just a situation where, certainly he's a proven good player that you can win with. But there have been, the Eagles are now in a situation where they know something had to change. They had to reset their offense, and it's now a moving train that Jalen Hurts, who's been resistant to some of those changes in the past, now has to get on.
And he's going to get on it because he knows that he has had success only when he has gotten on it. Hang with Hennig here on 97.3 ESPN FM, 97.3 ESPN mobile app, powered by First Bank of Sea Isle City. Coming up on the other side, we'll talk with Maldonado, ESPN betting analyst. Don't forget, Hanging with Hennig on 97.3 ESPN. Being brought to you by Caesars Sportsbook, the only sportsbook app offering you Caesars rewards. And every bet you place on every sport does more for you. More perks, more ways to play, more ways to level up your experience like only Caesars can offer you. You can earn perks with every wager, from hotel stays, the bonus bets, the game tickets, and more. Only Caesars can deliver this for you. Getting started is simple. Download Caesars Sportsbook app, use my promo code RADIO, DYW. Then place your first bet of $1 or more for a chance to double your winnings on your next 10 bets. That's 10 chances to boost your play just for stepping onto the field with Caesars Sportsbook. See Caesars.com/promo for full terms. If you or someone you know has a gambling problem, call 1-800-GAMBLER. How should you bet the Masters this year? You know, when we're at Whaletail Brewing next Saturday for Hanging with Hennig for our Phillies and Masters watch party, how should you be wagering on golf's Daytona 500, the biggest event on the golf calendar? Maldonado breaks it all down. Coming up next here with Hanging with Hennig on 97.3 ESPN FM, 97.3 ESPN mobile app, powered by First Bank of Sea Isle, and streaming live on YouTube and X in the Dr. Squatch virtual studio.
Lanier in transition, hits the three, and a sign of life from Knoxville. Playing, driving right. Loft for Brazil and a two-hand slam.
6 on the clock. Now with 5, he drives on Maddox. Right elbow with 3, spins to the foul line. Jumper up, and it rattles in at the buzzer.
Don't miss any of this year's action on the road to the Final Four with Westwood One's exclusive coverage of the men's NCAA tournaments.
Catch all the college basketball tournament coverage on 97.3 ESPN. Brought to you by the New Jersey Lottery's Millionaire for Life.
Tired of cooking and planning all of your meals each and every day? You need Prevail Nutrition to simplify your life. For almost a decade, Prevail Nutrition is a local meal prep company located in South Jersey that allows customers to design their own meal plan. Or you can choose from a wide variety of chef-designed meals on their weekly changing Prevail Selects menu. You can order online for pickup or get free delivery on orders of over $50. Prevail Nutrition delivers to Atlantic and Cumberland counties along with Ocean City. Or you can pick up your meals every Monday and Friday. Learn more about how Prevail Nutrition can simplify your life. Visit their website at prevailnutrition.club. Check out Prevail Nutrition on Facebook and Instagram. Prevail Nutrition is my go-to choice for prepared meals and foods. Order online, like me, at prevailnutrition.club.
Making your home look brand new is what Work of Art Construction can do for you. Ready to remodel your bathroom or have a kitchen makeover? Art Masker has 40 years of experience in construction and knows how to make your home look like a work of art. Want to install a new back deck or invest in a new front door? Just call Art Masker at 609-788-4271 to learn more. Visit Work of Art Construction on Instagram to see how Work of Art Construction can make your home look brand new. Beautify your home with Work of Art. Call him at 609-788-4271 and let them make your home truly a work of art.
This is the story of the one. As a maintenance tech at a university, he knows ordering from multiple suppliers takes time away from keeping their arena up and running. That's why he counts on Grainger to get everything he needs, from lighting and HVAC parts to plumbing supplies, all in one place. And with fast, dependable delivery, he's stocked and ready for the next tip-off. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Indeed presents hires you can't afford to get wrong, like a cybersecurity engineer at a publicly traded company.
We've been hacked! They're through our firewall!
How is that even possible?
They got my password.
Please don't tell me your password was password.
It's actually password 1.
This is your job for Sponsored Jobs.
This is what happens when you don't sponsor your job on Indeed. Next time, get matched with quality candidates with Indeed Sponsored Jobs.
Visit Indeed.com/hire now and sponsor your job today.
Straight Talk Wireless presents Pickup Truck Wisdom.
The smartest way to spend your money is not to. Straight Talk offers free 5G phones for new and existing customers on Verizon's 5G network. So the refund money I don't spend on that free phone is the refund money I get to keep for my family. Smart.
Find us at straighttalk.com and Walmart. Straight Talk Wireless. Straightforward. Always. Taxes and fees apply. Plan purchase required for free phone offers. Copyright 2026 Verizon.
Something good to know from First Bank of Sea Isle City. We have all of today's innovative banking products just like the big banks, but we offer something they can't. A personal community focus. Let's get you started with Bill Pay. You save time when you pay your bills online. It's fast, easy, and convenient. First Bank of Sea Isle City. A community bank that delivers more for you every day. Personal service, today's technology, from the people who truly care. Learn more at firstbankseaisle.com.
Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
You're hanging with Josh Hennig on 97.3 ESPN FM.
I want my picks back. I want David Putnam.
And on the 97.3 ESPN mobile app, powered by First Bank of Sea Isle City.
I want all my picks back, and I want David Putnam just because I feel like it.
You're out of your mind.
Yeah, I am. Haven't I proved that already?
Streaming live on YouTube, Instagram, and the X platform.
Josh Hennig here on 97.3 ESPN. And listen, we know that this weekend is the Final Four, but we know what's next weekend. It's the one thing that my audience has been asking for 2 weeks now. People in South Jersey care more about the Masters than they do about the Final Four. So I had to reach out to the one and only Pam Maldonado to get the lowdown on the 2026 edition of the Masters. Of course, you've heard Pam with us over the years here on 97.3 ESPN. She's doing great work covering golf, tennis, college basketball, college football, NFL, everything she can get her hands on for ESPN.com, including the UFL. Pam, how you doing today?
I'm exhausted. Everything that you just said. I was like, oh, I am doing A, B, C, and D, and we're only in April, right? But
yes.
I think in the spring, this is your opportunity to touch on every sport. Because once football starts, NFL, college football, it's literally just college football, NFL, leave me alone, everything else. So.
Yeah. Well, listen, I know that you are huge in the golf world. You have always been keeping a close eye on this, so I had to get you on for the 2026 Masters. Of course, folks can hear Masters updates all day long, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday right here on 97.3 ESPN. So let's start with this. Let's kind of go big picture because this year's Masters is actually projected to be the warmest weekend at Augusta since 2019. Projected temperatures of 79.5 degrees. So how does weather impact someone like Pam Maldonado looking at a tournament like the Masters?
So I think that most people really treat weather like a footnote, but it's really not, especially in golf. Like it quietly shifts how the entire tournament plays out and how the edges are created from these players from the handicap perspective. So the things that actually change when it comes to weather, especially what you just mentioned, what was it? It was, you said 79 degrees. It's going to be a potential of high 85, the warmest. All of that matters because number one, the course plays longer and softer until it doesn't. So warm weather alone isn't necessarily the story. Heat plus humidity, that's going to be the thing that like softens the greens early in the week, which means you're more receptive on your approach shots. Slightly easier scoring on Thursday and Friday. But Augusta, it does dry out fast. If that 85 degrees Sunday weather comes and with the sun and any breeze, the greens are going to be firmer. They're going to be faster. Misses on the approach shot are going to get punished harder. So you're essentially watching a different course by the back nine Sunday than you saw Thursday morning. So if you're betting, you have to think of morning, afternoon splits. You have to think of day by day. You're not adjusting round by round. You're already doing it wrong. The other thing that changes, and this comes from like being a golfer myself, right? I've handled all of the adversities of weather, ball flight, distance. Both of those things are things that change. The warmer air, thinner air, the ball flies further. Now I know that it sounds like simple, but that most people underestimate the ripple effect. And it's not necessarily something that you can necessarily handicap. There's not like a data point, a strokes gained number that you can look at, but it is something visually that you can do maybe if you're wagering round by round. Longer hitters are going to gain even more separation. The approach numbers are going to shift, especially if you're hitting into a par 5. Club selection errors, those are going to increase for the players who don't necessarily dial in quickly. So all of that matters because people tend to think of weather as like a static variable, but it's really dynamic across 4 days. And that's where the edge is. So you want to stop betting the Masters like it's one 4-day event, and you really want to treat it like 4 different tournaments layered on top of each other.
So just to follow up on that, so like maybe you would say to people, don't just place a bet on Wednesday for like your top 5, your top 10s. Maybe look at Thursday and Friday, see what the leaderboard is, and maybe place a wager then ahead of Saturday. Is that kind of like what you're saying here?
Exactly. You want to look at the players who are adjusting. Maybe they had a couple of bogeys to start, but they leveled out, caught up with birdies. Maybe they had a really good putting. If those are the putters, if players had really good putting situations, those are the players that I typically want to fade. I want to back the guys who they were dialed in with their irons from start to finish. They started the round hot with their irons. They finished the round hot with their irons and off the tee, because those are going to be the players that can sustain the elements over a course of 4 days, rather than the guys who are heavily relying on one side of their skills.
Talking with Pam Maldonado. Of course, you get all of her coverage at ESPN.com for all sports. But we're talking about the Masters this week here, because next weekend, the 2026 Masters, and a big favorite every week is Scottie Scheffler. He's a big guy. You have been taking a very close eye on him for years with your golf analysis. But Scottie, kind of a rough March, not a typical Scottie March. So what is a fair assessment of the one and only Scottie Scheffler coming in to Augusta this year?
I think the casual viewer is going to be like, oh, it's Scottie. It's Augusta. He's going to flip the switch. That's not how golf works. Even if it is Scottie Scheffler, the inevitable. Now, what the data is saying is, you mentioned it, in January and mid-February, he was elite, gaining everywhere across the board. He even won a tournament at the end of January, the American Express, but late February into March, his irons dipped hard. And that's supposed to be the strength of his game. Putting was volatile, still tee to green was solid, but it wasn't separating. Results reflected. You look at Scottie Scheffler's profile, and he has a T12, a T24, and a T22, which is, hey, great for most players, but if your name is Scottie Scheffler, that's kind of like, hey, you're having a bad season. So that's not dominance by his standard. That's just a good player showed up. So the real question is, what wins at Augusta? What type of player? What's the player profile for Augusta? It's not be good from tee to green. It is absolutely have elite iron play plus control on fast greens under pressure. And right now with Scheffler, his off the tee game still strong. That's his baseline intact. His approach super inconsistent, and that is a problem at Augusta. Putting, still streaky, but that's always been his ceiling limiter. So I'm not assuming anything that, oh, he suddenly flipped it, or he's been practicing and grinding and this is where he finds it. I'm looking at a situation where if you're super gung-ho on playing Scottie Scheffler, you play him live. If Scheffler shows up gaining 2.5 plus on approach early in the week on Thursday, then he's immediately live to win. But if the irons look like they have been all season long, he's overpriced, and you're paying a tax simply because his name is Scottie Scheffler. So avoid auto-betting him pre-tournament on short odds. Watch round one approach numbers like a hawk, and be ready to enter the live market if his irons are back.
So based on that, it sounds like it might be a similar approach to Rory McIlroy, a guy who's been dealing with a back injury this year. He's trying to become the first back-to-back champion in 25 years. Some guy named Tiger Woods, you might have heard of him, right? So, but Rory, it sounds like it might be a similar recommendation, right, Pam, where it's like, wait and see what he does before you throw any money around on him.
I do want to correct something, because one thing you said was back-to-back. I think you're mixing, not you specifically, but I think the narrative around Rory McIlroy is mixing two things that don't belong together, the narrative and the current form. Back-to-back Masters, Tiger Woods, you're going to think, oh, he's prime for this. That's media hype, but it has zero betting value. Now, what does Rory's current profile say about him? Well, Pebble and Riviera, elite from tee to green. His irons were firing. It was like the best version of Rory that we have seen. He looked like a top 2 player in the world. Bay Hill, his irons completely fell apart, and he withdrew because he had a back issue. Sawgrass, off the tee was strong, but the putting imploded. He lost nearly 6 strokes putting with the flat stick. That's not a steady trend. That is mega instability. And when it comes to betting, what is the worst thing that you can do as a bettor? Follow somebody who has instability. Now, layering the thing that actually matters, and you mentioned it, the back injury, and yes, he very much has the same approach of Scottie Scheffler. Because when you're Rory McIlroy, or when you're a golfer and you have a back injury, that's not a minor detail that you want to overlook. That, especially for somebody like Rory. What did we see from him from last year's Masters? He made some super sick, monster shots. But why did he do that? Because the rotational speed was there, the driver dominance was there, aggressive swing was there. You need a healthy back in order to do all of those things. So again, like Scotty, don't bet Rory pre-tournament at short odds. Watch him early. What you want to watch is more so his body language, especially on drives, and his second shots from uneven lies. Pay attention to, is he swinging freely? And don't look at the results necessarily. Like maybe he still has a couple of pars, maybe he has a couple of birdies. You want to look at his facial expressions, his body language. Is he showing any signs that the back is an issue? And if it isn't, like Scotty, if he's fixed some things, then he could be live to win.
Let's do a couple quickies here before we let you go. Pam Maldonado from ESPN.com, betting analyst, joining us here. Who intrigues you coming into 2026 Masters?
Somebody who hasn't won the Masters who could win the Masters this year. I'm going to go with Ludwig Åberg. I think he's one of the few players that have actual winning upside. But Ludwig is also a high volatility play because early in the season, American Express, WD. Farmers, he was cut. Negative strokes gained from across the board. But that's kind of more of his floor. But the shift of it was that at Riviera, stabilized. Bay Hill spiked. He was a lead off the tee in his approach. And at Players, he was able to sustain that. So it was back-to-back tournaments where he showed consistency. That's a legit trend change, not a one-week heater. So for Ludwig, he actually fits the profile for Augusta because he has an elite driver. He creates easier angles into the greens. He can kind of cut some of the angles like we saw Rory did last year. He has a high soft ball flight, which is perfect for Augusta approaches. And his irons, they tend to surge. And that's the ones that really does matter most here at Augusta. So now the problem for Ludwig that is his around the green game is kind of average at best. So if he doesn't hit his irons right on the mark, that's potentially where he could end up dropping down from the leaderboard. But with Ludwig, you're kind of really betting that his irons are going to stay consistent like they have been in the last few weeks. If that iron spike is real and his driver stays dominant, he doesn't bleed strokes around the greens, then he's a legit fighter for at least like a top 10, top 5, if not to win.
He still scares me. I've always been scared of touching him with a 10-foot pole, but maybe I'm.
Why? But his swing, he's right up there. If you're talking about like all the makings of Rory McIlroy from last year, Ludwig is right there with him because we're talking about power, distance, cuts, angles. He kind of has that like it attitude to where he's going to be like, I'm going to go for this, even though I probably shouldn't, and he's probably going to be right if he's feeling his irons and his drives.
Maybe I've watched too much Full Swing. Maybe that's my problem. To be honest, I love that show. I'm a little obsessed with that show, to be honest. But, again, because to me, I go back to the mental game. To me, like, everything you're saying is correct, but it's like, I don't know, like, is he mentally there? I think that's my question.
I think a lot of players aren't there until they put themselves there. Like, you don't win until you do. Right?
Fair enough. That's very true. Before we let you go, obviously, every year I feel like I see the big names, right? The Bryson DeChambos, the Brooks Koepkas, the Colin Morikawas, the Just Thomas are always in, parlays, props. People are always throwing them around, especially in our area. So what is your perspective on the popular names coming into Augusta?
If we're sticking to just the names that you mentioned right now, DeChambeau, Koepka, Morikawa, and JT, the most obvious one is going to be Colin Morikawa. If he's healthy, because he himself is also having some back issues. But if you look at it eliminate that from the equation. He won at Pebble, gaining everywhere, not just his irons. Riviera, Bay Hill, he was able to follow that up with consistency. He's off the tee, is super solid enough, and is around the green has improved from his old baseline. So he's become a well-rounded player, not just significantly strong with his irons, which is a huge positive. That's the profile. And Augusta, iron tournament. Augusta is an iron tournament. That's it. And there's nobody coming into this with as good of an irons other than Collin Morikawa. He's one of the few players that you can actually expect to have consistent distance control, repeatable proximity, and less reliance on scrambling. So now the issue that we've always seen with Morikawa, his putting. If it gets cold, then he's finishing in the top 10. But if you compare that to others, Scheffler needs his irons to rebound. Rory needs his back to hold. Ludwig needs his short game to not crack. Even players like Xander Schauffele, they need to actually separate. Fitzpatrick, he needs form in order to sustain. So out of all of the players, the big names, Collin Morikawa, if he can just putt average, he can win this. We've seen him literally do it before. And the big question is his back healthy? If it is, another contender.
For more betting analysis, as I mentioned, the Final Four, NFL, college football. She's covering the UFL. Hey, don't forget about the tennis coverage as well as the golf coverage. Pam Maldonado, check her out on X and Instagram. I highly recommend Instagram, by the way. She's constantly putting content up there, informational content that'll keep you on the straight and narrow. Pam, appreciate you jumping on today.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Thanks again to Pam Maldonado for joining us here on Hanging with Hennig on 97.3 ESPN. As a side note, I don't know what it is that I constantly get people who are professionals to curse on the radio. Between her and Michael Bisping and Daniel Cormier, and I don't know, maybe it's just people who are current and former athletes. Maybe I just have an effect on them. They get too comfortable around me. But yes, we did. I did pre-record that with Pam because she's actually very busy with work assignments today. But hey, people have been asking for the Masters preview. You heard her say, she likes Ludwig Aberg. She says stay away from Scotty and Rory at the start of the tournament. And, she basically kind of told you that, this might be the year you want to do less pre-tournament wagers and maybe more in-tournament wagering. And, of course, we should do that with Caesars Sportsbook, the only sportsbook app offering you Caesars rewards. Josh Hennig hanging out with you here on 97.3 ESPN. We'll get back to text board on the other side, 609-403-0973. As we wrap up the 3-hour tour, hanging with Hennig on 97.3 ESPN. Don't forget, we got a busy, busy weekend in sports. Look, I know a lot of people have plans for Easter Sunday, but maybe you don't have plans for tonight. And guess what? If you're looking for somewhere to watch the NCAA tournament games at 6, the Sixers game at 7, the Phillies game at 8, or maybe tomorrow you want to escape from your family to watch the Phillies and Flyers games, which will be on simultaneously, you want to head over to my friends at Hang Time Bar and Grill on the White Horse Pike in Galloway with over 30 TVs so you can watch all the games simultaneously every single day. Don't forget about live music every Tuesday night, DJ Bingo every Wednesday night, and some of the best happy hours in South Jersey at Hang Time Bar and Grill. Spring into fun with friends and family and enjoy your next night out at Hang Time Bar and Grill, located on the White Horse Pike in Galloway, with live music every Tuesday night, DJ Bingo every Wednesday night, and 30 TVs to watch your favorite teams play. Good times and great food is waiting for you at Hang Time Bar and Grill. Check out Facebook and Instagram to learn more about Hang Time Bar and Grill's weekly specials and one of the best happy hours in South Jersey, on the White Horse Pike in Galloway at Hang Time Bar and Grill.
For 23 years, we've helped athletes at all levels at Clemic Performance Method, from youth to pros, increase maximum velocity, acceleration, vertical leaps, and general physical preparedness. We offer youth, high school, and pro college classes. Our proven results have earned national recognition from NFL coaches, sponsors, and a feature on ESPN Radio's Sports Science segment. You can contact me directly at 609-742-6190, or as always, visit us on our website, clemicperformancemethod.com.
Indeed presents hires you can't afford to get wrong, like a staff accountant at the height of tax season.
Congrats, looks like the company owes, $50 in taxes. How about that?
That seems low. Why only 50?
Why do you care so much? It's not your money.
This is your job for sponsored jobs.
This is what happens when you don't sponsor your job on Indeed. Next time, get matched with quality candidates with Indeed-sponsored jobs. Visit Indeed.com/hire now and sponsor your job today.
What if you could have the most reliable Wi-Fi? And get this, what if you could keep it at the same price for 5 years? That's the Xfinity 5-year price guarantee.
Just 5 years of fiber-powered Wi-Fi that boosts speeds to the devices that need them most.
That finds and fixes problems before you even notice them. Like super intelligent Wi-Fi with a sixth sense. And that keeps you gaming in the fast lane, even when the whole family is banking on bandwidth. And here's the best part. No annual contracts, no hidden fees, and our best equipment included.
Plus, get online in minutes with same-day Wi-Fi.
Hey, let's face it, a lot can change in 5 years. Kids grow taller, dreams grow bigger, but your Wi-Fi? It would stay reliable and the price would stay put. The Xfinity 5-year price guarantee. Lock in your price and unlock the possibilities. Xfinity, imagine that.
Select plans only. Restrictions apply. Powered by fiber. Connected to the premises by coaxial cable. Actual speeds vary.
Here he comes.
Surprise! There's an avocado shortage! Now half your food truck menu is costing more than it's making you! Also, you're out of napkins!
Those aren't cheap! Progressive knows small business owners usually don't like surprises because they cost you money. But a good surprise? Saving 13% on commercial auto insurance when you pay in full.
Also, an ice cream truck stole your parking spot! Looks like you're in a turf war!
Surprise yourself. See if you can save in as little as 8 minutes at progressivecommercial.com. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. Discounts not available in all states or situations.
Something good to know from First Bank of Sea Isle City. We have all of today's innovative banking products just like the big banks, but we offer something they can't. A personal community focus. Let's get you started with Bill Pay. You save time when you pay your bills online. It's fast, easy, and convenient. First Bank of Sea Isle City. A community bank that delivers more for you every day. Personal service, today's technology, from the people who truly care. Learn more at firstbankseaisle.com.
Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
Now back to Hanging with Hennig on 97.3 ESPN FM.
Bull is right. You are an ox and a moron.
And on the 97.3 ESPN mobile app, powered by First Bank of Sea Isle City.
Hello? Get back in the room.
Streaming live on YouTube, Instagram, and the X platform.
Hanging with Hennig back here on 97.3 ESPN. Don't forget, we will be at Whaletail Brewing Company next Saturday for the Phillies pregame and postgame. We are going to have the Phillies versus Diamondbacks here, thanks to ESPN Radio, here on 97.3 ESPN Radio South Jersey. So I'll be coming on from 12 to 1, leading into the Phillies game, and then coming on after the Phillies game, which will probably be roughly around like 3:30. That day. So, and we will be there all day for the Phillies watch party, the Masters watch party. Come on down, hang out with us. There's going to be all kinds of great giveaways and specials and all kinds of things you can do. But you got to join me at Whaletail Brewing Company next Saturday in K-Main Courthouse to join in on all the action. It'll be our first stage of our South Jersey Craft Brew Tour. Hanging with Hennig will be bouncing around the different craft breweries around South Jersey. Whaletail Brewing is one of our stops on the tour, along with Slack Die Brewing Company in Dennis Township on Route 9, as well as Gusto Brewing Company in North Cape May. We'll have further details about that coming up down the road. But next Saturday, Whaletail Brewing Company, right off of Exit 6 on the Garden State Parkway. It's maybe like a minute or two from Exit 6 on the Parkway. It's right across the street from Home Depot. Plenty of TVs to watch the Phillies as well as the Masters will be on the televisions next Saturday. Whaletail Brewing Company, Hanging with Hennig here on 97.3 ESPN. We'll get back to text board in just a moment at 609-403-0973. A couple of quick news and notes to get to. We mentioned this earlier. Joel Embiid has been officially ruled out for the game tonight. They're calling it injury management, so Joel can keep being mad. I mean, and for those who didn't hear what he said last night, I think Joel is just getting too up in his own feelings. I think that's what the problem is. I think Joel is kind of forgetting that he needs to be aware, and same thing I said about Jalen Hurts earlier. These guys need to be aware of their own, what they can and can't do. We got to stop acting as these athletes stop acting like, I want to play. I'm trying to win. We know you're trying to win. We know you're trying to play. if you have someone who has an injury history like Joel Embiid, you got to protect him from himself. To me, it's very, very simple. You got to protect the guy from himself. But so Joel Embiid will not play tonight. And frankly, you should, being the key word, be in a position to beat the Pistons just with Paul George and Tyrese Maxey. You don't need to have Joel Embiid tonight. You have enough firepower to beat the Pistons tonight. If you can't beat the Pistons tonight, that's on you. That's not on Joel not being available. Couple updates. The Rangers lead the Red Wings 3-0 with 10 minutes left in the third period. So the Rangers trying to do the Flyers a favor here. Telling you, man, send them a gift basket tonight. Maybe send them I don't know. The gift basket would be like they could be some cheesesteaks, maybe some brewskis. You always can call like Whaletail Brewing or Slack Tie Brewing Company and say, hey, can we get some stuff to send up to the people in New York as a thank you for because the thing people don't understand is that the Rangers aren't playing to win to help you literally, but it's the idea that it is funny that the team that you need to loses to a team who's one of your rivals. That's always kind of like a funny situation. So Rangers right now trying to beat the Detroit Red Wings, which will be a huge boost for the Flyers' playoff hopes, who are currently there 1 point behind the Islanders after winning the game last night. Flyers back in action tomorrow. Hear the game right here on 97.3 ESPN. Flyers versus Bruins coming up at 3:30 tomorrow. Following that will be Cardinals versus Tigers on Sunday Night Baseball, thanks to ESPN Radio. A couple other things before we get out of here. The other part of this Eagles offense stuff that I did want to hit on really quick. For all the criticism of Jalen Hurts, what I find interesting is that this ESPN article has conveniently deflected attention away from A.J. Brown and from Sean Mannion and from Nick Sirianni and from all the other people who might be involved in the offense. And it has to make you wonder, is Jalen Hurts just an easy target? We pick on Embiid because he can't stay healthy. We criticize Bryce Harper for, not playing up to expectations. Billy Schweim in the locker room this morning, they had a poll question. Okay? And the poll question had to do with Hurts versus Harper. Who deserves more criticism? And I think it's Bryce Harper. Bryce Harper signed a massive contract. He's supposed to be the face of the team. He's supposed to be the face of the franchise, blah, blah, blah. Well, I haven't seen it in a couple years. When was the last time Bryce Harper was the best player on the Phillies offense? 3-4 years ago? While Bryce Harper has had trouble staying on the field, has had trouble not swinging at pitches in the dirt, Jalen Hurts has won a Super Bowl and got to a second. Jalen Hurts has done more in 4 years than Bryce Harper has done in 6. Bryce Harper's got 1 MVP, 1 World Series appearance, and a bunch of failures in the postseason. Because we know the Phillies could have beat the Diamondbacks a few years ago, but the offense died the last 2 games of the ALCS. The Phillies could have beat the Mets and the Dodgers the last 2 years, but the offense died in the postseason multiple times. The man who's supposed to be the face of the offense is Bryce Harper, and he's more concerned about the GM says about him than he is about actually winning baseball games, I think. Am I being hypercritical? Maybe, but that's how I feel. right, before we get out of here, Cole from LBI chimes in. He says, one bleep isn't too bad. Added emphasis from Pam. Yeah, it's always fun. And I say it in jest as well. So Pam's great. She's one of the best in the business. So we're grateful to her to come on the show. Yes, thanks to Pam Maldonado, ESPN betting analyst, NBA insider, Brandon Scoop B. Robinson, as well as thank you to Dr. Ashley Tress from Ivy Rehab Physical Therapy Center with over 18 locations around South Jersey. Best in class physical therapy. I know, because they're my physical therapist. I'm supposed to be discharged next week. I'm supposed to be done with it finally next week. Been a long several months for me, but I'm getting there. Thanks, Ivy Rehab Physical Therapy. Shout out to Prevail Nutrition, Work of Art Construction, Caesars Sportsbook, Hang Time Bar and Grill in Galloway, Hang with Hennig, 97.3 ESPN. Thanks to all of you who tuned in. Hope you're all enjoying the great weather outside. Also, thanks to Vince and Nick for hanging around, helping me out with the show today. Enjoy the rest of your weekend. Happy Easter, everybody.
Saturday morning in the locker room with Billy Schwein, producer Nick Earnshaw, and my intern Aaron Ewing join me in the studio. We will react to Friday night's triple header. The Phillies are in Colorado. The Sixers host the Timberwolves. And the Flyers have a must-win game on the island. Hour 1, we hope to talk with President of Hockey